Although it was found, the dragon had no explanation at all. Although it stopped, it just stopped for a moment. Then he continued to turn a blind eye to those people, ready to go deep. Stop. Didn't you hear what I asked you? The speaker seems to be the leader of this team. Seeing that Long Qingxia ignored him, he thought that the other party was afraid, so he left in a hurry, and suddenly he didn't speak out. Boss, I think this kid is sneaky. I don't think he has any good intentions. Maybe someone from another team sent him to inquire about the news. Yes, boss. He must have seen all our achievements just now. If we let him go like this, I'm afraid he will tell others the news, and then we will be in a bad situation. Around a group of flattering people, see their boss don't like to see this man. Suddenly one after another voice. Just got the treasure. They are in a good mood, and afraid to let others know that they will come to rob. So naturally they are not willing to let the dragon leave. That eldest brother listened to these words. Poor also feel very reasonable. Immediately more don't want to let Long Qing evil so left. Stop for me, since you see our business, don't leave. I advise you to stay and don't force us to do it. The boss of the team looked at the back of Long Qingxia who wanted to leave, and said arrogantly. Long Qingxia naturally heard their conversation clearly, but he didn't bother to argue. Finding Yunwu was the right thing. It's just that this damn tomb is forbidden to fly. Even if the speed is the fastest, it can't go anywhere. Otherwise, just when they were talking, Long Qingxia would not know where he was. What a miserable boy. It seems that I have to give you a good look. As soon as the leader of the team saw that his words didn't work, and he was in front of his brothers, he immediately felt that he couldn't lower his face. He threw his anger on Long Qingxia and roared at the figure who left. Finish saying, then directly toward that figure to rush, fighting spirit surface on the body, palm a shake. A big knife then appeared in the palm, impolitely toward the dragon Qing evil heart cut. This man is a martial saint. He has some strength to be the leader of a small team. This move is obviously with a strong sense of murder. If you change yourself to be someone else, I'm afraid you will really die under this move. Long Qingxia turned his back to the people, and there was a sneer on their faces. Do these people think anyone can see the things they took? It's killing me to try to provoke him for this. Long Qingxia's body didn't move. In the eyes of those behind him, he felt that Long Qingxia had been scared and didn't dare to move, or his strength was too low to avoid the boss's move, so had to stand obediently, hope the boss can forgive him. Even the boss of the team felt that way, but the action on his hand didn't stop at all. In his opinion, just now the dragon's evil behavior has made him lose face in front of the brothers, so he must kill him. The attack is fleeting, and everyone can anticipate what's going to happen. But none of them said anything, and even everyone looked like schadenfreude, hoping that the dragon would die directly. But then something frightening happened. When many people saw that the attack hit Long Qingxia, and the sword went through Long Qingxia's body directly, they found that there was no blood splashing out at all. And their boss is even more frightened to find that his knife doesn't have any sense of hitting others. This is disabled what's left of it. The boss of the team couldn't believe looking at the slowly disappearing figure, and said in horror, what kind of strength can have such speed? And shadow can stay in place for so long. What's more, there is a ban on speed in this tomb. Soon, however, he had no chance to think about it. Long Qingxia's attack arrived even before he appeared. The black energy seems to throw away, directly to the team leader, then in contact with the man at the same time. A strange scene suddenly appeared in front of the crowd. A good living person, wrapped by the black energy, did not make a sound, and disappeared in front of the public. As if swallowed by the black hole in general, wrapped by the black energy is just a moment thing, but when the black energy dissipates, they can no longer see the captain's figure. Where's the boss? Where's the boss? Where's the boss? The members of the team looked around in horror, only to find that not only did they not find the figure of the boss, but also the figure of Long Qingxia. It was not until after a long time that the evil figure of dragon appeared in front of several people that they were startled. When did you show up? Where did you get the boss? I can tell you that with so many of us, you'd better be wise, otherwise you can't eat and go here. Although a group of people were scared to tremble, but still bravely said to the dragon. A very evil face with a smile looked at the crowd, cold eyes. Mingming looks like an immortal, but the breath on his body seems to come from hell. Even the words from his thin lips are so chilling. It's a bunch of people who don't think much of themselves. Long Qingxia's voice came faintly. Since you are in such a hurry to die, I'll clean it up easily. People's eyes became more and more frightened. In the pupils, the man in white was smiling like a ghost, slowly approaching them. On the other side of the tomb, Yunwu 3 left the independent space safely. After they left, the space behind them had disappeared completely. I'll take care of it, otherwise this space debris residue will affect the people who come and go. Small 9 gave an account, then stood up and walked toward the space there. Although she is not the warcraft of the space system, after all, this space is the place where she stayed for a long time, and she got some ways to deal with the space from her previous master. So at this moment, only she can deal with this space. Yunwu knows that Xiaojie won't do anything she doesn't know. So she nods and lets her make trouble. Sister Yin, eat this quickly. Fire Spirit Sun handed over a Dan medicine to Cloud Dance's hand, a face worry of say, you just suffered so heavy injury, eat this can recover some. After receiving Hualinger's elixir, Yunwu is a little sad. This pill is not right at all. How can you take it casually? And although she was seriously injured before, because of her contract with Xiaojie, she has recovered more than half of her injury. Now she can recover directly with a little adjustment. What's more, there is the power of magic bite in her body, constantly repairing her injury. But looking up at Hualinger's expectant eyes, Yunwu couldn't say no, just said, I took this medicine first. Now my injury is not the time to take medicine. I'll take it later. On hearing this, Hualinger nodded blankly. In fact, she didn't know much about elixir, but everyone had elixir on this operation, and she had taken it once before. She felt very comfortable and knew it was a good thing, so she took it out. But I don't know that this medicine is just an ordinary pill in Yunwu's eyes. 2 people picked a place to sit down at will. Very quickly, the figure of small 9 appeared again in front of 2 people. Done. Cloud Dance picks eyebrow to ask away. For this just contract partner, she is not very understanding. Well. Little 9 nodded and gave a lukewarm answer. In fact, my attitude towards Cloud Dance is still somewhat contradictory. At this time, the place where the 3 people sat side by side was just out of the original passage. Originally, Yunwu and Hualinger were curious about how they could get out of the passage to the cave. It turned out that the entrance point of the independent space was at the entrance of the passage. As long as they got out of the passage, they would directly enter the independent space. Is every passage here guarded like this? Cloud Dance suddenly open-mouthed to ask away. In the mind is still remembering would to fix the circumstance outside the channel that they leave. Looking around again, he found that it was the same as that of Mu Xiuming. It's surrounded by huge stones. When you walk inside, you can see some rooms, corresponding to the ear chambers of the tomb. However, there are many ear chambers like this in this place, most of which have been hollowed out. I think these places must be used to place various treasures of the summoner. I think she has been practicing Cloud Dance for many years, and she has collected a lot of good things in her personal space, not to mention the owner of this tomb. I'm afraid his must-win collection is all in this tomb. There are almost everything from valuable to cheap, from rare to everywhere. Yes, every channel here has a ghost of Warcraft left to guard. If you want to pass, you must defeat those ghosts. Little 9 replied. Ghost? Cloud Dance frowned. Why is the ghost? Why aren't you? If the master has more summoners, I think he will be happy to use them all to guard the tomb. The reason why he didn't do that is because he has too few summoners. But if you don't use your own warcraft to guard, you need to find a warcraft that is loyal and powerful. That kind of warcraft is very rare, so he looked for a long time, but he didn't find a suitable one. So he decided to use the ghost of some fierce beasts as a guard. Fierce beast? Hualinger shivered and exaggerated. No? How could anyone dare to catch a fierce beast? A touch of pride flashed in Xiaojie's eyes. What's a fierce beast? At the time of my master, he was one of the best masters. The whole continent knew his reputation. It's easy to deal with a few small warcraft. 3 times and 2 times, we'll catch enough of these warcraft. Small 9 talk, as if to talk about their brilliant past in general, for a while even call forget to change. What master? That was your former master. Now you can only call Sister Yun the master. Fire Spirit Sun curled to curl a mouth to say. In the heart have no favor really to Small 9. From the initial meeting with Xiaojiu, then to the war between her and Yunwu, and finally being signed, Huolinger is only slowly hostile to Xiaojiu, until they finally make a contract. Xiaojiu's talking voice suddenly stopped, and his face was embarrassed. Indeed, from the perspective of contract, his current master is Yunwu, and it is also because of the contract that Xiaojiu can feel that his heart is changing little by little and becoming obedient to Yunwu. It's just that her memory reminds her not to forget her former master. Not to mention that this place is the grave of her former master. Never mind, you go on. When Huolinger and Xiaojiu both feel embarrassed, Yunwu says faintly, as if they don't care about Xiaojiu's address at all. Small 9 eyes complex to see Cloud dance one eye. A face turnkin of peach blossom, continue to say. No matter from which channel come out, will eventually meet the ghost of a fierce beast. The strength of each soul is different. The weakest can be defeated as long as there is a martial saint in the team. The strongest you need at least 3 Wuzongs or 1 Wudi, so if you want to benefit from the tomb, you have to form a team. Yunwu nodded. Although she said that, she didn't worry about Mu Xiuming. After all, there is a Huolin in it. Lin Yuntong's current strength is the realm of Wuzong, and there is a Mu Xiuming. Although there are only 3 people in it, he is definitely much more powerful than all the teams. Where is the inheritance of your master? Cloud Dance finally asked the most crucial place. In the center of the whole tomb. If you want to get there, you have to go through one ear chamber after another in this intricate tomb. There are all kinds of treasures in those ear chambers, such as pills, miraculous drugs, weapons, gold and silver, etc. If ordinary people see it, they will be crazy about it. Small 9 charming face flashed a touch of irony. But it's a pity. Often these are the reasons why the explorers can't hold on to the last, always want to take more, eventually lead to each team fighting, and finally stay in this tomb forever. It is clear that the temptation of ordinary people to that kind of thing is self-evident. Oh. No, Fire Spirit Sun suddenly says. We've been here so long. I'm afraid someone has already entered it. Dad, their goal is the most central inheritance. If we don't go there, we'll be taken away by them. Huolinger suddenly said. Sister Yin, you are the summoner. You can accept the inheritance, so let's go quickly. Cloud Dance nodded, is ready to start. Small 9 but smile. Don't worry. Even if they get to the place, they won't get inheritance. Fire Spirit Sun alone. What meaning? The inheritance of this tomb is limited by levels. The lowest is Emperor Wu, and the second is the dual summoner of space and thunder. Finally, I can get my approval and get the inheritance through me. So even if they get to the place, they can only watch. At most, they can take away a jade card by force, combined with the power of several Wuzong. What's the use of jade? Cloud Dance is keen to capture the key points. Jade brand is the key to inheritance. When it's gone you'll know. Xiaojiu said with a smile. In a word, you don't have to worry about it. None of them can inherit it. What's more, even if you take away the jade metal, it will take a long time to compete with each other. Cloud Dance nodded. Feel Small 9 said really reasonable. Huolinger patted her chest and said. I'm scared to death. I'm really afraid I can't catch up. Small 9 one eyes in the smoke wave flow. Looking at Cloud Dance said. This grave ear room big and small have hundreds of, each ear room has a lot of good things, if you get those also be regarded as not poor harvest. Cloud Dance the corner of the mouth a hook, in the heart understand Small 9 is what meaning, if thoughtful of nod. The 3 of them had a rest. When Yunwu's injury was almost recovered, they stood up one after another, and went on to the depth of the tomb. The sweeping of ancient tombs has officially begun. In the water prison of Luxia tribe, there is still blood, but inside there is a fierce fight. In the water prison, countless men surround Qi Yi's in the middle. Qi Yi's beautiful face is full of blood, and his eyes are red. She clenched her teeth and raised her hand abruptly. The steel rod wrapped in fighting spirit threw it at the man in front of her. In an instant, Her head was broken and blood was flowing. Tao Li didn't react. Seeing this, she fainted on the ground. When she woke up again, the water prison was like hell, which made her face pale and faint again. These people can't stop Qi Yi's rampant. All the way. She looks like Hell Shura. When she carried Dolly step by step out of the water prison, after the water prison, except for the dying, there is no one alive. When I came out, it was dark outside. The wound on his back gurgles with blood, which makes Qi Yi's pale and soft. He goes to the residence where the patriarch is. He puts Tao Li down and walks him by himself. Just on the second floor, he saw a light on in the patriarch's room. Qi Knight quietly hid under the window, listening to a few figures in the light of the light in the room in front of him saying, "How do you say we should solve this sword? Let's take this sword to the merchants of other tribes tomorrow to see the price. It may be very valuable. If we could, we might be able to use the money to sell swords to collect more delicious women." Qi Yi squatted under the window, silent sneer, listening to the people inside are discussing things, eyes flashing killing. Suddenly turn over and up, jump on the roof, lift the roof tiles, quietly sneak in. The roof of the house is relatively high, and Qi Yi's body is very light. The people standing around the sword in the house didn't find Qi Yi's. Quietly squatting on the beam, listening to the people below. "I think tomorrow we can eat this woman's delicious limbs." One of the men smacked his lips with a smile, as if he had tasted the meat and enjoyed it on his face. The kind of meat that becomes tight because of struggle is really memorable. "I really want to taste her viscera, which is not dead yet. It's really delicious when I think about it." Several people are talking about how to eat Qi Yi's, but they don't know that Qi Yi's is just above them. When they see their swords around them, they feel the state of several people. They find that two people can't feel it. They are a little nervous, so they plan to go back to the next day's round, but did not expect that one of the men suddenly raised his head, just in Qi Knight on the eye. Suddenly, the strange smile on the corner of the man's mouth cools Qi Yi's heart. His heart says that he's broken. "I can't feel this man's state. I'm afraid he's not under me." Just thinking about it, the man suddenly raised his hand and hit Qi Yi's face with a whip in his hand. Qi Yi's was seriously injured. He had no way to dodge. He had to jump off the beam of the house and fall among several people. He took out the sword from the table and held it in his hand. Sure enough, with the sword, Qi Yi's was as flexible as if he had another arm. However, the bigger problem is that a few people around us are similar to their own realm, while the other two are much higher. Qi Knight tense whole body nerves, a burst of tension, luck will be wrapped up in fighting. The people around them seem to have expected that Qi Yi's will come tonight. Everyone's face is full of unidentified smiles, which is very terrible in the dark and windy night. I said that meat without high-speed movement is not fragrant at all. Look at this little boy, he really listened to us and came all the way to us. One of the men said with confidence that the men around him also laughed. Looking at Qi Knight was like looking at a little white rabbit, with banter and pity. "Come on, play games with our little white rabbit." Some people said that they raised their hands and patted the color of the Enterprise on their chest. Qi Yi's hurried away to dodge, but he thought that there was someone behind him. He stopped walking. Yu Guang glanced around, only to find that the man near the window had let the window go. Take the smile in that man's eyes. Qi Yi's holds back his anger and rushes out. "Come on, we'll have fun tonight." Behind the window came a burst of laughter, and then, a few figures flew out of the window, instantly disappeared in the air. "I can't see my fingers." Qi Yi's leaned behind a tree, panting heavily, his face was pale, and the blood on his back was flowing all the time. The blood dripping on the ground made Qi Yi's very nervous. If they went on like this, they would soon find themselves. But now these people seem to be playing hide and seek here, searching around without delay. "What can we do?" Qi Knight murmured in his heart. Looking around, there was silence. There was no one else except these people. But even if it does, it's not very useful. Qi Yi sighed and quickly found out his situation. Then he picked up his snake sword and ran out. Tao Li is still sleeping at the door. Qi Yi says a word of trouble in her heart and goes to the door. Sure enough, at the gate of the mansion, Tao Li was sleeping soundly on the ground. She didn't know what kind of situation she was facing. After thinking about it for a long time, she hesitated for a long time between saving and not saving. Then he finally got ready to go towards Tao Li. I got you. Around suddenly came a voice of banter. Chi Knight has not turned his head, feel behind a cold wind, quickly turned towards his back to block. With a loud bang, Chi Yi's felt that her hand was numb. She stepped back 2 steps, but still didn't give up protecting Tao Li behind her. But on the side, suddenly a man rushed out and chopped at Chi Yi's. Chi Yi's feels the strong wind blowing by her side, and she quickly sidesteps to avoid, but she is still scratched with a hole, which is very ferocious. These people, obviously playing with themselves as monkeys, beat back the people around them and walked towards Tao Li. Chi Yi's walked all the way to Tao Li, until he picked up Tao Li, leaped up and left in the distance. Chase, some people around said loudly. Several people ran towards the direction of Chi Knight. Chi Yi's looks at the woman sleeping on her shoulder. She is really itching. She turns her head and looks behind her. Those people haven't come after her. Then she stops and throws Tori on the ground. All of a sudden, Tori sat up from the ground, grinned, touched her ass and stood up. Where is this? Why am I here? What do you want to do with me? I want you to go away. Chi Knight, coldly looking at in front of Tao Li, turned to leave. But you can't just abandon me. Tao Li is very wrong to stand behind Chi Yi's, curling her mouth. I am a person who has no self-protection ability at all. If I encounter any danger, what should I do? It's none of my business. Chi Knight said these 4 words, turned and leaped up, and left in the direction when he came. Hello. Tao Li jumps her feet, looks at Chi Yi's back and shouts. You are a wicked man. Chi Knight, color corner of the mouth, starts to sneer toward a man who faces to rush past. All the way to kill. These men never kill her, just play with her, scratch her a few cuts, or scratch her skin, which makes her very angry. Several people finally intercepted her in the woods and couldn't get in or out. You guys are. Chi Yi's gritted her teeth and flew at a man. This little girl is very anxious. The man said that he turned his head and looked at the people around him. The people around him walked towards Chi Yi's and raised his sword to fight against Chi Yi's. This man's realm is equal to his own, but his melee strength is good. He was seriously injured. Before he handed over his hand several times, Chi Yi's was already panting, holding his knee, leaning his sword on the ground, and his whole body was shaking. I said, let's take her back. What if she runs away? It was suggested. Don't worry. Will she run with us? Another man said, looked up at the sky, said to the people around him. We'd better not catch, let's go, it's almost dawn. So it is. People around to cater to, even turned around on the spot or scattered. Chi Yi's watched the people around her disappear suddenly. No matter whether she should rest or not. She sat cross-legged on the ground and closed her eyes. The dizziness made her unwilling to open her eyes and explore her body. However, she could not help but be overjoyed. She had a faint desire to break through, but she had to work hard. Sitting cross-legged, he finally healed half of the wound in his body, and quickly stopped the blood from the wound on his back. While I'm not being watched by these people during this period of time, I have to do something first. Chi Yi thinks so, suddenly sneer, lift snake sword, walk toward the city. In the desert, Meng Bai, hungry and thirsty, once again fell into despair. Flaming lizard, which is a terrible thing in the eyes of all desert people, unexpectedly happened to meet itself. I suddenly sigh in my heart. I don't know whether it is lucky or unfortunate. The huge letter sun, with a bad smell, pounces on Meng Bai, which makes Meng Bai feel sick. He raises his hand and wields his sword to cut it off. Fire, fire, lizard, eat pain. Quickly roar back 2 steps. The ground was shaking him. Meng Bai has a feeling of death. In such bad weather, facing such a warcraft alone, he really has no chance of winning. The sandstorm is still rampant, so Meng Bai can only defend against the fire lizard while waiting for the storm to pass. However, nothing could be seen outside. After the whole world was quiet for a moment, suddenly, a huge object sprang up behind him and bit Meng Bai's head. The smell of saliva makes Meng Bai feel sick. He cuts off one of the fire lizard's teeth with his sword. The fire lizard almost jumps up in pain, but his huge body blocks his action. One person and one lizard struggled in the sandstorm for a long time. Finally, half an hour later, the sandstorm became smaller. In a short time, the sky had already sent out the light of the sun. Meng Bai at this time to see clearly in front of this giant. The flaming lizard, 3 people tall, has red scales all over its body, red eyes, and the corners of its mouth bleed like blood. I don't know if it just ate some warcraft last night. Its huge tail sweeps across the ground and sends out bursts of wind. Meng Bai focused his attention and flew to the flaming lizard in front of him. However, the scales of the flaming lizard were too strong. Meng Bai staggered 2 steps before he barely stood and looked forward. The flaming lizard is already angry. It seems that there is a flame in its eyes, which makes Meng Bai back again. What a terrible guy. Meng Bai thought and looked around. Here there was no cactus. The flaming lizard didn't give him time to think about his situation at all. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of magma. The hot lava spouts out of the fire lizard's mouth and attacks Meng Bai. The hot wave makes Meng Bai pale and quickly withdraw to one side. Where the magma went, even the sand turned black. It's really terrible. Meng Bai has a lingering fear. He takes a long sword and deals with it carefully. So he wrapped his whole body in the fighting spirit and rushed to the flaming lizard. I saw the flaming lizard sweep its tail and sweep directly to Meng Bai's stomach. With a dull hum, Meng Bai spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out. He fell to the ground and rolled several times before stopping. But the blood kept spitting, which made him unable to stand up for a moment, so he had to curl up on the ground and frown. The fighting spirit in the body suddenly fills abnormally, which makes Meng Bai nervous. Is it going to break through? Yes, he is not excited at all, because in such a situation, if he breaks through and suffers from thunder cloud, he may not be able to live after serious injury. What can we do? Meng Bai thinks in his heart, and bears the attack of the flaming lizard in front of him. Another sweep, let Meng Bai fay up and down. Spray thin blood let him pale. For a moment and a half actually can't move. He suddenly will sword fly up toward the flaming lizard eyes stab. Sure enough, with a sharp roar, the fire lizard fell to the ground and kept struggling. Meng Bai closed his eyes and explored his body. It seems that under such circumstances, he can only break through first. Thinking about this, he sat up quickly, took out a few pieces of raw meat of the sand eel and swallowed it. He replenished his physical strength, sat on the ground, closed his eyes, wrapped himself in fighting spirit and meditated. Sure enough, after a while, the sky was still full of thunder, and the wind and clouds were surging towards Meng Bai's cultivation place. Meng Bai clenched his teeth, closed his eyes, listened to the huge footsteps of the flaming lizard nearby, and suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. The flaming lizard stands up suddenly before meeting. Although one eye has been destroyed, he still has another eye. He even wants to kill himself, so come here. So thinking, the sky suddenly dark clouds, thunder rolling. This let Meng Bai heart both happy and uneasy. Looking at the flaming lizard in front of him, the good thing is that he has no brain, so he follows what he likes to eat. With this in mind, the flaming lizard in front of him pours at him. Just as it happens, a sky thunder attacks Meng Bai. With a roar, the flaming lizard's roar was deafening. Meng Bai just hit under the flaming lizard's stomach and raised his hand to stab the flaming lizard's stomach. Another fierce struggle. The flaming lizard rolled up. The sword inserted in its stomach could not be pulled out. Meng Bai flew out with the flaming lizard. A sky thunder strikes, and Meng Bai is so scared that he hugs Huiyan lizard's foot. Suddenly, a smell of paste comes out from Huiyan lizard. Huiyan lizard is beaten and kicks Meng Bai away. Meng Bai spat out blood and glided on the sand for a long time. He finally stopped. He happened to see a thunder rushing at him, and was about to fight down. He was in a hurry to resist. Turning his head, he saw the flaming lizard running towards him like crazy. He couldn't help laughing. He stood up and ran 2 steps towards the flaming lizard, getting under the flaming lizard. The sky thunder split in an instant makes Meng Bai feel a pain before he has time to take his feet in. When he turns his head and looks at it, there is blood on his feet. I couldn't help taking a breath, but I felt a dark shadow suddenly hit on my head. I was in a panic and quickly dodged. The flaming lizard had lost its breath and fell to the side. Mengbai sits under the flaming lizard and quietly watches the thunder fall on the flaming lizard. Bursts of smoke rise from the flaming lizard. After a while, the flaming lizard's last breath is also broken. Finally relieved, looking at the gradually clear sky, Mengbai lay down and closed his eyes. I don't know how long I slept until the hot heat made him feel like he was on fire. Looking ahead, I didn't know how far to go, so I sighed, took out the roasted meat from the flaming lizard, ate it, and walked towards the endless desert ahead. It's been another 3 days and 2 nights. Finally, at the end of the desert, Mengbai saw an inn. There is a flag standing at the door of the inn, which makes Mengbai come down and speed up his steps towards the inn. It was not until I approached the inn that I found that behind the inn in front of me, there was a small village. All the people who came and went stopped in the inn, drank some tea and asked the people around me about the situation. Mengbai was extremely tired. He went into the shop and asked for a pot of tea. He sat down and asked for 2 dishes. While eating, he listened to the people around him talking about the residents nearby. Well, have you heard that mysterious cannibal tribe has appeared again recently? Suddenly a young man stood up and said aloud. For a moment, the hotness of the inn turned around and focused on the young people. Even Mengbai couldn't help looking at the young people. Thought, cannibalism? How to eat it? When the young man saw that everyone's eyes were on him, he suddenly got excited, coughed and said, "It is said that many passers-by have been eaten by them recently. Among the tombs, there are large and small ear chambers one after another. The door of each ear room is tightly closed. The door is covered by a strange energy. If you want to open it, you need different experience and attack. The ear room is big and small. Everything in it is a treasure that can make the whole Wuling crazy. But if you want to get him, you have to have enough ability. The forces on these ear room doors are strange." Huolinger walks beside Yunwu and looks at the big and small doors curiously and says, "Little girl, you don't know. These are the seals that have been set up specially. They are not forces." Small Nine teases to say. There was a flash of pride in his eyes. And then he inadvertently looked at Yunwu, but he did not blurt out the word master. The seal? Huolinger was more curious. He went directly to the front of an open door and explored the energy curiously. "Yes." Xiaojiu leaned on a wall and said lazily, "Every ear room here will set a seal according to the things placed inside. These seals can only be opened when there is a new heir to the whole tomb, and only for the heir. Like today, they are invaded by a group of intruders. If they want to get things in the ear room, they have to rely on brute force to break these seals. The power of the seal is big and small. The more precious the things inside, the greater the power of the seal. Some can break it by force depending on the strength of the team, and some 2 or 3 worthless martial saints can break it. But those that are really difficult to open may not be able to open even if they are more than a dozen martial sections." "No." Huolinger was surprised and said, "No more than 10 martial arts schools? What about Sister Yin?" Cloud Dance's line of sight looked over. Small Nine charming smile said, "If according to the power of words, although Emperor Wu is stronger than those invaders, but for the tomb owner is still too low, even if 2 more, I'm afraid also can't open." "Ah," Huolinger said. "It's too difficult for you here. Fortunately, Sister Yin is going to inherit it, otherwise you can only see the things in it." Small Nine smile of a face cunning say, "The rule is dead, but the person is alive. Although there are many rules in this tomb, don't forget that I have many ways to avoid the rules. It's just as if I can manifest myself under prohibition." Huolinger's eyes brightened. "What can you do? I have the residual energy left by the tomb owner, and I know the way to remove the seal. As long as I lead the way, you can enter any ear room you want. True or false?" Huolinger's eyes were straight. "So we can get these things without any effort? Don't go to other places to have a look. If you slow down, you will be robbed by others." Then he ran directly to the inside. All they saw along the way were open ear chambers. There were 5 or 6 large and small ear chambers. The small one was only 2 or 3 square meters in size, and there were only 2 tables inside, while the large one was nearly 10 square meters. According to Xiaojiu, these ear chambers are only external, and the things inside are worthless. so it's easy to open them. There's no need to worry about them at all. In the past, they were all discarded by the tomb owner. The ear chambers here are divided into 4 levels: Heaven, Earth, Xian and Huang. Each level is divided into upper, middle and lower. The most central one is Tianzi Air Shi, while others are scattered irregularly in various places. There are also some air shi that use space elements to float in the whole tomb, which need to be searched. And some of the most peripheral ear chambers don't even have numbers. They are filled with ordinary weapons and herbs, and you can take them if you take them. Small 9 hit a yawn, follow behind Fire Spirit Sun, toward the cloud dance nearby to say, the speech is quite a bit rich and powerful flavor. But isn't it valuable inside? Don't forget that my father and several other city masters are all in the realm of Wuzong. According to you, they can open even the ear room with the character of the earth is superior. Hualinger said anxiously. Hey, there's something interesting about you, little girl. Small 9 squints a pair of eyes to smile to see Fire Spirit Sun to say. A jade white hand stretched out a slender finger to point the head of Fire Spirit Sun. Why not to your father, but to outsiders? What if your father had to go to those babies? Hualinger pouts his mouth and hides. Dad and they are just trading. Even if they open the ear room together, they just divide the things in it equally. There are 9 city masters, and Dad can only get 1/9. But if Sister Yin gets those things, if she doesn't like them, she will give them to us. At that time, Dad will get more than 1/9. When Yunwu heard this, she suddenly burst out laughing. This little girl should believe her so much. She is not afraid to sell her? And they only met a few times, so she sold her father and directly stood on her side, just because she thought she would do them good? Do you believe your sister Yun so much? Small 9 is also very surprised. A pair of coquettish eyes open greatly looking at Fire Spirit Sun. How do you know your Cloud elder sister will certainly give you things? Hualinger snorted. I know that although Sister Yun looks cold, she is very generous to her own people. My father and I are sincere friends. Unlike those city masters, they are all dignified in pure trading relationships. Small 9 light smile, no longer speak, but in the heart is greatly surprised. Yunwu is so cold that she can make a little girl trust her so much. I think it must have some advantages. Maybe I should get to know her again. I thought so, but little 9 didn't say anything, but continued to spread science around this ear room. But even so, you don't have to worry, because the plunder of those people is just in vain. I suggest that you clean up the ear room below the yellow character now, so as not to regret it later. Fire Spirit Sun alung. Why say so? Small 9 eyes a smile. All the things in this tomb are left by the owner of the tomb to the next inheritor. Those who come to plunder, even if they rob more also can't take out, when they leave, must pass through the transmission array to leave here. In the transmission process, all the things in the tomb will automatically leave and return to the standard. So, later words don't need Small 9 more to say. Cloud Dance and Fire Spirit Sun 2 people already understood. Do you mean that this tomb is a tomb on the surface, attracting groups of explorers to come here, but it's just a bait laid down to find a successor? Cloud Dance asked in surprise. That's right, Xiaojie said with a smile. Even if the intruder's strength can surpass that of the tomb owner, he will not find it until he leaves the tomb. At that time, even if he wants to enter the tomb again, it will be difficult. Because the whole tomb is a floating space, with no fixed place to live, in addition to specific factors are triggered, and then attract a new group of tomb robbers. Small 9's eyes look to the ear room which has been plundered in front, with a touch of irony. There are many organs in this tomb. Only the brave and resourceful people are qualified to inherit the master's inheritance. I just didn't expect to have an accident. The implication is that he is dissatisfied with Yunwu. In Xiaojie's opinion, he still thinks that Yunwu is not qualified to inherit his master's mantle. But out of compliance with the gambling agreement, she can only fulfill her promise. Yunwu didn't speak. She knew that even if she said it, she would not listen. You don't need to prove your strength to others, and after you leave here, you don't know whether the contractual relationship between them will survive, so there is no need to explain. Come on, if you are interested in the ear chambers below the D characters, grab them now, because after you accept the inheritance, the whole tomb will be yours. But those below the ground characters are not marked as tombs, but they will be taken out of the tombs at that time. Small 9 diverged the topic, as if the words before were not what she said. As always charming. Although she became the summoner of Cloud Dance, she never forgot her previous master. Conscientiously fulfill their obligations as a summoner, help Yunwu understand the tomb, and willing to let her become a successor, and feel sorry for the original owner from the private heart, but now, can only bury that apology in the bottom of my heart. This contributed to the present attitude towards Yunwu. Neither humble nor overbearing, neither angry nor sad. I work for you, but I don't recognize you from the bottom of my heart. With small 9 words, Fire Spirit Sun finally no longer anxious, all the way toward the inside. From time to those who have opened the ear room turn 2 eyes. But there was nothing left in every ear room. Occasionally, after 1 or 2 numbered ear rooms, Willinger could not help looking sad. You said how happy they were when they opened the ear room. When they left, they found that everything was nothing but joy. How lost they were. Fire Spirit Sun can't help saying. One side of the small 9 to her cast a white eye, as if to say, have the ability you let your Cloud elder sister give them things. Although Xiaojiu asked them to rob the ear room below the character D, it was ironic, but Yunwu was not affected at all. The 3 of them really found an ear room without a mark below the character D. This ear room hasn't been opened yet. Let's go in and have a look. Cloud Dance said, then ready to start. Well, all along the way, it's all opened. I've been itching for a long time. Huilinger said with bright eyes. One side of the small 9 already shocked. Xiao also did not expect Cloud Dance actually will go to sweep the ear room below the word, but she said clearly. All the things in it are herbal medicine and weapons discarded by the master. They are used to kill the invaders. Is this inheritor so mean? At the thought of this, Xiaojiu's face is not very good looking. Even if the master's successor is not strong, he must have the spirit of an expert. Now he is struggling with such a small thing like a upstart. It's just but Yunwu doesn't know what Xiaojiu thinks in her heart. In her opinion, the state of the tomb owner is something she will achieve sooner or later. But that realm is still a little far away from me now. And these worthless things for Xiaojiu may be the things that I can use in my present realm. What's more, she is not alone. Even if she doesn't use it, she can give it to her partner in the future? Before standing in the ear room, Yunwu didn't notice Xiaojiu's look behind him. He had already been ready to work. Small 9 changed face behind him, hesitated again and again, still did not make a sound to stop. With the strength of Cloud Dance is very easy to break the door. So she doesn't have to do it at all. Even she wants to be away. Master, I'm sorry for you. I just lost your inheritance to such a person, Xiaojiu thought silently in his heart. A loud bang. A wave of broken energy and the smoke symbolized that the door of the ear room has been completely destroyed by the Cloud Dance. Sister Yin is so powerful. It's open all at once. The team I saw just now has concentrated the strength of several people. That's because those people are too weak. Not your sister Yin is strong or not. Small 9 silently make complaints about the heart. Let's go in. The voice of Cloud Dance was calm, but after saying this he took the lead to step in. Don't worry, it's just some small things. Little 9 continues to make complaints about it in his heart. Wait for my sister Yin. Huilinger excitedly followed Yunwu and said, turning his head and looking at Xiaojiu who had been silent since just now. Go, what are you doing outside? Small 9 Wan Lung quickly shook his head. No, I won't go in. Stand outside to show you, prevent someone from coming. Go and choose what you want. Yes. It's a choice. They should just pick the right things and leave. Huilinger nodded. It's hard for you. Then he turned his head and went in. Small 9 This just relaxed a breath. A person quietly stands outside to wait. She really can't imagine that her master's heirs would regard the things that her master lost as treasures, and look surprised standing outside and waiting for a long time. I finally saw the 2 figures come out from inside. The first thing for small 9 is to look at their hands. When they appear empty-handed, they can't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, they didn't come out with a pile of things. It seems that they despise the things inside. It seems that the successor is not so ignorant of the world. The next moment, however, Xiaojiu's idea was overturned. As soon as Huolinger came out, he pulled Xiaojiu's arm excitedly and said, Xiaojiu, Xiaojiu, I tell you there are a lot of Huoling grass in it. Do you know Huoling grass? The same as my name. It's said that it's a kind of spirit grass that can make good pills. Sister Yin is also very surprised that there are so many fire spirit grass. Hundreds of trees. How could she not know? The embarrassment flashed over a coquettish face. Even if you don't know it's Huoling Ko, you can guess what level it is. Cough, I know Huoling Ko. It's not very rare. The owner of this tomb will cultivate his own spirit grass, so there are a lot of such things. It's a rare thing. Cloud Dance's cold voice came over. Put it outside, I'm afraid it will also lead to looting, not to mention it's still such a large number, so I took it all. Xiaojiu's smile was stiff on his face. Take all of them at the first moment. She was still glad that the air was not so insightful. At the next moment, she told herself that she had taken away the things used to send the invaders under the word D, and she was still a treasure. How could she bear it? However, next, Cloud Dance, actually another faction indifferent, said, How you heartache? It's no use heartache. I've already taken it. Let's go to the next ear room. In this case, there should be a lot of good things. Cloud Dance said, directly turned to the next direction, behind Huoling's son excitedly to keep up. Still don't forget to pull small 9. Come on, come on, come on. Small 9 want to cry without tears, but he is now the contract beast of Cloud Dance, so had to obediently follow behind, before also has been laughing, now suddenly silent. I tell you, Sister Yin said. Fortunately, we went to see these ear chambers. Otherwise, so many good things would be taken away by others. Huolinger comes up to Xiaojiu and says with a smile, as if he got a big bargain. Little 9 was silent. Sister Yin is generous. I said that I was studying herbal medicine and wanted a fire spirit herb, but she gave it to me without thinking about it. How much did you guess? Huolinger doesn't mind Xiaojiu's attitude. She says to herself, most of them. Sister Yin asked me to take more than half of the herbal medicine in the whole ear room. She said that she only needed enough for her. I think Sister Yin must have something to do with Huoling Ko. Xiaojiu was stunned for a moment. A moment ago, she still felt that Yunwu was greedy, but now she found that her previous idea seemed to be wrong. A greedy person who has never seen the world will be so generous to give his things to others? Do you have too much prejudice against her? She's not that bad, is she? Small 9 looking at the front Cloud Dance of the back, as if thinking way. In the forest of the Xiao tribe, Shangguan and Nanganji quietly stand on the nearest tree to Xiao Wu and others, listening to the movement below. Hello, one of the men reached out and patted Xiao Wu with a smile on his face. I heard that you've got a lot of rewards recently. How can I say you shouldn't reward your brothers? That's right. It makes you pay so much money. Do you think it's more difficult to give you to those who are difficult than to kill you? I said that this is a barren iron rooster. Let's kill him. Said a few men to push Mulberry up. Xiao Wu lying on the ground, such a strong man, but did not fight back, let a few people taunt. Don't worry, you saved the Wuzong adults, see you didn't go back, we'll leave directly. A man picked up Xiao Wu's collar, will he lift up? You channel stagnant waste. Xiao Wu lowered his head and let them beat and scold. Shangguan and Nangangi look at each other and frown, intending to continue to listen. I said, Xiao Wu, there's no fighting spirit in this world. You're not as good as a beast. So it's useless for you to ask for so much money. I think you'd better hand over the money. Otherwise, you can't get home with your brothers. He said with a sneer. Do you think that Wuzong can help you if you save him? Don't tease me. They are all high-ranking people. Do you think they will waste their energy for such a small person as you? Xiao Wu still didn't speak and didn't resist at all, which made Shangguan really can't stand it. He jumped down the tree. But Nangangi didn't move. He just stood in the tree and looked down. Oh, let me see who's calling me. Shangguan sneered and suddenly fell in front of several people. They were so scared that they stepped back 2 steps. They looked up and saw that they were not familiar with each other. This just pick eyebrow boldly stepped forward. Who are you? There is nothing for you here. I see you still don't mix in blindly. With his head down, the superior could not help laughing. It felt like I heard something funny. I raised my head and couldn't help laughing. Several people were puzzled. Mixed up. Shangguan dashed in front of several people, raised his hand to grasp a man's neck, and pressed the man on the tree. Smile eyes curved. I tell you, he is my life-saving benefactor. How can you treat my life-saving benefactor like this? If you make me angry, it's not something that can be solved by apologizing. Suddenly from the body to reveal a strong aura, coupled with Shangguan's face light, let those people tremble and swallow saliva. But the tone was still tough. How come I haven't met you? It must be Xiaowu who asked to scare us. Do you think I'll be fooled by you? Shangguan smiles and turns his head to the tree. Those people can't help looking at the tree. Beside the tree, Nanganji, who is white and elegant, looks like an immortal. Like a god. He has a kind of condescending feeling. The setting sun hits him, and his holy but pure appearance makes several people feel stunned. When several people reacted, they coughed awkwardly twice, and their legs softened. They turned to see the Shangguan. This guy's momentum is not inferior to the one standing on the tree. I'm afraid the two people's realm is quite the same. At this moment, a few people knelt down on the ground with a plop, and they were so scared that they cried and cried. Great Xia, please forgive me, Master Wuzong. I don't know that the two Great Xia are coming. If you missed them, please forgive me. Shangguan pursed his mouth with a smile in his eyes, but his face was full of serious expression. He helped Xiaowu up, coughed twice with his hands on his back, and put on airs. I tell you, Xiaowu is the life-saving benefactor of both of us, so if you dare to have trouble with him in the future, you must remember to walk together when you go out at night. Do you understand me? Several men nodded in a hurry. In that way, they almost spat out their tongue and wagged their tail. Shangguan snorted coldly, shook his arm, turned and walked toward Xiaowu. If it's nothing, you can go away. Just finished, the men ran to the direction of the woods, disappeared in an instant. Looking at those people running away, Shangguan couldn't control them for a moment. He covered his stomach and laughed. Oh my god, it's so funny to scare people like this. Nangangi has come forward and holds Xiaowu's wrist. Xiaowu is nervous and instinctively wants to avoid it, but in an instant, he swims around his body with a breath. After a while, Nangangi took back his hand and frowned. Brother Xiaowu, when did you start to exhaust your fighting spirit? Xiaowu bowed his head and sighed in frustration. Then he said, 4 years ago that summer, when I went out to collect herbs, I was injured. When I was sober, I found that my fighting spirit was exhausted. No matter how I practiced in the future, I could not make my fighting spirit full. From then on, I became a useless man. Nangangi nodded slowly, turned around and walked forward thoughtfully. Shangguan laughed enough and ran after him. He looked at the two thoughtful people, scratched his head and caught up with Nangangi. Why, do you see why the fighting spirit in his body has dried up? Sealed. Nangangi has a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes are full of affirmation. This kind of seal is difficult to understand, but if you meet us, there will be no problem. Behind him, Xiaowu vaguely heard Nangangi say that there was no problem. He got excited and ran to Nangangi. His eyes were shining with tears. He was about to cry. Master Wuzong, do you mean my fighting spirit can be restored? Nangangi lowers his head, smiles, nods, and makes no comment. Xiaowu's eyes filled with tears. He came forward to hold Nangangi's hand. He was so excited that he couldn't express it. Suddenly he reacted again. He quickly pulled back his hand and began to laugh. Nangangi didn't say anything, just went back to the house with Xiaowu. As soon as he got back to the house, Nangangi asked Xiaowu to sit cross-legged, and he stood beside Xiaowu, holding Xiaowu's wrist and merging his fighting spirit into Xiaowu's body. Walk into the meridians, open the long blocked meridians by the way, and then untie the seal step by step. Xiaowu only felt that the fighting spirit was very comfortable in his body. He enjoyed it selflessly for a moment, but he didn't react to it. All he felt was a strong breath coming from his body. Suddenly opened his long exhausted meridians. The majestic fighting spirit is like a flood. an instant into the whole body. Xiao Wu couldn't help but snort. His whole meridians hurt as if they were cracked. He clenched his teeth and heard a cold voice around him saying, "Guide the aggressive wandering." So I hastened to guide the fighting spirit, and swam hard in my own meridians. Xiao Wu had not practiced for a long time, so he couldn't control it at all. His fighting spirit rushed into the main meridians, and let Xiao Wu's blood gush out. Nangongyi hurried forward to join hands, and sent a stream of fighting spirit to guide the fighting spirit in Xiao Wu's body. In a moment, it was calm again. It was not until Xiao Wu opened his eyes that Nangongyi stopped and breathed. Xiao Wu's face was a little pale. He was hurt by the collision just now, but he got out of bed and knelt down to Nangongyi. He kowtowed several times. "Lord Wuzong, I don't want to repay you for your kindness. If I have a chance, I'd like to be a cow in return." Nangongyi quickly lifted him up, shook his head and said, "This little hurry is not worth Brother Xiao Wu's help." Xiao Wu was so excited that he was about to cry. He laughed and said, "Anyway, I must buy a jar of good wine tonight. The three of us will be drunk tonight." Shengguan stood by and laughed when he heard this. At night, the stars were burning and the lights were shining. Xiao Wu cooked a good table, and asked people to move 2 jars of good wine. He moved his dining table to the yard and sat down with 3 people facing the moon. "To tell you the truth, Lord Wuzong, it's because of this that I planned to marry my daughter-in-law and run away with others. Because I didn't have fighting spirit, I was bullied by everyone in the village. After so many years, I've been living a life as if I were dead. If it wasn't for you, I would be bullied all my life. So, maybe I would become something. Say, stand up, toward the South Palace y end up wine cup. Anyway, I toast you a cup. Thank you for your help." Nangongyi stood up and raised his mouth slightly. "Don't be so polite. We have a long way to go." Shengguan stood up with his glass and said, "You're welcome. Do you want to drink or not?" Said a mouthful of wine, cannot help but praise. "Well, good wine." He picked up the wine jar and poured another bowl. 3 people are drinking wine bowl by bowl. Xiao Wu laughs happily and talks with Shengguan in the dark. Nangongyi sits aside, drinking wine on his own, looking at the stars and silent. It was not until Shengguan and Xiao Wu were drunk that Nangongyi looked back at the messy table and the 2 people in front of him. With a sigh, he stood up and walked towards the room, but suddenly in a trance, he held the table and knocked down the bowl on the table. He bowed his head and laughed. He was drunk. He sighed and sat back at the table. He leaned against the stone pillar and closed his eyes. The breeze blew, and the whole tribe fell silent. The next morning, when Xiao Wu opened his eyes again, he found that he was the only one left in the small yard. He quickly stood up and ran into the room, shouting, "Lord Wuzong." However, no one answered. With a sinking heart, he rushed into the bedroom, only to find a letter left on the bed with a bottle pressed on it. When he opened it, he saw that it read, "The effect of refining qi with pills in the bottle was excellent. There's no reward for saving your life. Goodbye and take care." Some disappointed heart, looking at the paper, spit out a breath, dispirited sitting on the bed. Suddenly, a group of people rushed in outside the door. Xiao Wu saw that it was Xiao Xingjie and others. He quickly stood up and walked toward Xiao Xingjie. He was very depressed and couldn't lift his spirits. "What about Lord Wuzong?" Xiao Xingjie asked in a hurry as soon as he came in. "I don't know. When I got up this morning, I saw them leave this letter and disappear." Xiao Wu sighed. "I don't know when I can repay this kind of kindness." Xiao Xingjie was very angry and said, "How can we let them go?" Patting himself on the head, he was very remorseful. "They should be entertained, so that our tribe avoided a struggle, thanks to 2 people. At this time, the 2 people riding in the forest, walking in the shade, very comfortable. Shengguan smiles cunningly. "I just think that we have helped them so much. We only need 2 horses. It's okay." Nangongyi smiles and doesn't speak. In the desert inn, Mengbai is very curious to drink tea and listen to the young people around him talking about the cannibal tribe. It is said that as long as this cannibal tribe appears in one place every year, it will let passers-by come into the tribe on the ground of hospitality, and then take advantage of it to catch them and cut meat. As soon as the words were finished, All the people in the inn could not help shivering. Of course, Meng Bai also coughed twice. Meng Bai put in a sentence. So no one took the lead to exterminate these people? Ah, this young Xia has got the point. The young man suddenly came forward with a smile, patted Meng Bai on the shoulder, and said to the people around him, "So in our inn, we are going to hold a recruitment now, and we are going to kill the cannibal tribe together, with a reward of 100,000 liang." After that, he looked at the people's eyes in the inn and said with a smile, "You'll share it equally." Cut. There was a hiss in the inn. Everyone began to have tea and chat again. No one paid any attention to the boy. Seeing that everyone ignored him, the young man asked for nothing. He turned his head to look at Meng Bai, stepped forward and sat beside him laughing. "Young Xia, don't you have any idea to kill cannibals?" "Why not?" Meng Bai took a sip of tea and looked at the teenagers around him. "Are you so good?" The young man's face is unbelievable. Meng Bai didn't speak but just smile. "Young man, where do you know so much information?" On hearing this, the young man clapped his chest with pride, and his eyes were full of satisfaction. "You ask me, I'm the best informed here." Then he looked around, leaned over to Meng Bai's ear and whispered, "All the information here is sent by me. Do you want any information?" Meng Bai blinked, smiled and didn't speak. "I know that recently, that cannibal tribe has captured a cruel character, who is said to be a woman in the realm of Emperor Wu." Meng Bai nodded, squinted and laughed, as if not interested. "If you slaughtered the city, you can cooperate with her. I'm afraid she would have cut it down and wiped it out in the realm of Emperor Wu." The boy picked up the jug and gave himself the wine. He drank it and looked at Meng Bai with wide eyes. "How about it? How is this information to be traded?" Meng Bai turned his lips and stood up helplessly. He said with a smile, "The transaction has to be valuable. This information is of no value to me." Seeing that Meng Bai was about to leave, the young man was immediately flustered. He grabbed him and laughed. "Don't, young Xia, if there's nothing wrong, just look around." But Meng Bai shrugged and left. The footsteps behind him came after Meng Bai. "Young Xia, wait till you go," the young man panted to catch up, looked up at Meng Bai and laughed. "I don't ask for anything in return, I'll go with you." At this time, Meng Bai suddenly noticed that the young man was white and beautiful, and his age was about 17 or 18, but he was very clever. What made Meng Bai even more incredible was, "You are a woman." Hearing this, the young man turned red and quickly lowered his head and stammered, Who told you I'm a woman? I'm a man, okay?" Meng Bai had no choice but to smile, sighed and walked forward. "Then you can lead the way." Say so here in front of a piece of yellow sand all over the sky. Immediately can't see clearly the road ahead. At the sight of such a scene, Meng Bai was still frightened. I suddenly thought of the flaming lizard and the unknown danger that I defeated by thunder robbery. "What's your name?" the young man said, looking up at Meng Bai. "This man looks unfathomable. He doesn't know what the origin is. My name is Jiazhong." Meng Bai. Meng Bai simply introduced himself and followed Jiazhong to the deep desert. In Luxia tribe, Qi Yi's has already killed Red Eyes at this time. Qi Yi's body is covered with blood. He kills people whenever he sees them. The whole Luxia tribe is covered with blood, which makes people scared. Qi Knight step by step a bloody footprint. The hands of the snake sword are trembling, listening to the people on the street screaming cry devil. The heart cannot help but sneer, "Devil? I'm afraid you are the real devil." All the way unimpeded chopping, suddenly, in front of a few men, Qi Knight look, it is last night with those who chase her. One of the men was very happy with a smile. "At last we met, didn't we? How are you doing?" Qi Yi's face is calm. She holds the snake sword tightly in her hand. The blood in her hand makes the handle of the sword wet and sticky. It's very hard for her. Her clothes have been coagulated into a layer of armor by the blood. And her face is a little bit bloodstained, just like a Hellshura. My God, it's so beautiful. A man clapped and walked towards Qi Yi's. Qi Yi's was so nervous that he stepped back. "I've come to see your injury." The man walked slowly towards Qi Yi's. "You know, if you lose too much blood, it's not delicious." Then he turned his head and looked at the people who had been killed in the whole tribe, and laughed. Just like you, if you kill them, we can't eat them. Said, but also a sigh of regret. Qi Yi's stomach surged, and he almost vomited out. He threw the snake sword in his hand and rushed towards several people. These people, I'm afraid, are already metamorphosed among the metamorphoses. They, together with the tribesmen, have already ignored their life and death. In front of an ear chamber in the tomb. Just now it was still in front of the bustling door, but now it became very cold. Those teams that were still immersed in the joy of harvest a moment ago, now all their members are lying on the ground and shouting, ouch ouch. Long Qingxia coldly looked at them, and the black energy in his hand was put away. Well, I'll die. The cold voice sounded, and the beautiful face seemed to be frozen at the moment. Looking at the people on the ground who had been saved by him, his eyes were full of disgust. If it wasn't for his good mood because he was about to see Yunwu, I'm afraid none of these people would stay. Long Qingxia looked up to the depth of the passage, and his eyes became soft again. It's a little bit delayed, but we'll see it soon. Long Qingxia murmured in a voice that only he could hear. Then the head also does not turn toward the center to continue to move forward. In a corner behind him, a small group of people hid behind him until Long Qingxia left for a long time. That man is so strong, and it seems to be looking for someone to listen to what he said before. The speaker is a graceful young man. If they are dancing in the clouds, they will recognize him here, because he is the young man Mulan of Yulin Town. I heard that Yunwu is also looking for someone. Do you think they will? Said another. After such a little time, they have already inquired into everything after Yunwu appeared in Wuxia Town, so they naturally know about Yunwu's finding friends. Cloud dance? Mulan frowned. He didn't feel it at first, but suddenly it was possible. If other people don't connect them at will, they will not. However, in several towns around Wuxia Town, there are not many experts here on weekdays. This time there are 2 in a row. It seems that their skills are at least in the realm of Wuzong. And this man is even more powerful. Moreover, both of them came to Wuxia Town to find people. In this way, it is difficult to connect them. Very likely. A man in white beside Mulan said that it was the Wuzong who fought with Yunwu before. What are you going to do? The man in white continued. Although he was only invited to join the team of Mulan, he always thought highly of himself. After he was defeated by Yunwu, he had a knot in his heart. Therefore, I directly hated the people in the cloud dance team. When I saw the people related to the cloud dance, I couldn't help asking another question. Mulan was silent for a moment and thought about it carefully. At last he said, "Why don't we go up and have a look?" Since he didn't find our trace just now, his strength is not very strong. Bring him to our team. I'll see what Yunwu will do if she finds out that her good friend has joined the enemy's team. The man in white was stunned and frowned. Even if we let him join, how can we compare the importance of Yunwu with them when they meet? Mu Lin snorted coldly. You look down on me too much. My confused heart pill in Yulin Town is not so famous. Confused heart pill. As soon as these 3 words came out, several people could not help but open their eyes. In order to deal with Yunwu, that woman, the young master even planned to take out the heart pill. It may be able to control people's mind in a short time. It's the treasure of Yulin Town. Only the city master of Yulin Town has it. For a moment, everyone could not help but take a breath. This young master is really a black sheep. In order to deal with a woman, he could do this. The man in white was also stunned, but then he also laughed. Since the young master is so willing, I won't say much. Mulan looked at the people's looks, vanity soared, proud of the hum. A wave of the palm said, "Keep up." A small group of people ran after Long Qingxia in the direction of leaving. When they left, they did not forget to search the people lying on the ground, and took out all the things they had searched in the ear room before. It's just that they don't know. Long Qingxia has known that their team is not far away. They just feel that their strength is too poor to fight with them. If Long Qingxia knew that they had a grudge with Yunwu, he was afraid that the people in this group would have died long ago whether you were the son of the city leader or not. I don't know how many times. On the other hand, under the leadership of Yunwu, they found another ear room below the prefecture level that had not been opened. This time they found another herbal medicine in it. Yunwu also generously gave half of it to Huolinger, and they went on contentedly. And what's different from before is that this time, Xiao Jiao and them enter the ear room together, as if they no longer care. Although Yunwu didn't say it, she also saw her changes in her eyes. It's just that the contract will be terminated after the end of the tomb. So Yunwu didn't say anything about her, just as she was a partner. It seems that there are many teams coming in. After searching for so long, only 2 ear chambers have not been opened, and all the others have been looted. Cloud Dance turned. The ring on the hand casually sighs away. Xiaojiu coughed softly and said, "In fact, you don't have to mind. The more you go inside, the more good things you have. At that time, those things don't belong to you. Anyway, those taken away are worthless things." Cloud Dance shook his head. If other even just herbal medicine is very important. Small 9 also want to say what? Cloud Dance suddenly turned his head, a face seriously looking at her. Whether a thing is valuable or not only depends on whether I need it or not. I need these things, so even if she is very common and not as rare as others, it is irreplaceable for me. Small 9 Lung suddenly understood what Cloud Dance refers to. At the moment, I blushed and knew that I had misunderstood her. Maybe even from the beginning, my idea about whether the baby is worth money was wrong. Small 9 Low head, a charming face up a little bit of red, appears more charming. I know. Cloud Dance did not speak, looked up at the depth of the channel, said, "The outer layer has been swept by us. Then next we will go inside to have a look." After looking at it, Xiao Jiuxi determined his position, and then he said, after passing the passage in front, he entered the inner layer of the tomb. From there, all the chambers are numbered. So it doesn't matter if you don't look. Anyway, it won't be long before you know all about it. While taking control of the tomb will be turned into a portable space, and everything inside will be known by then. Yunwu didn't expect to have this effect. It seems that there are many mysteries in this tomb. Otherwise, Xiaojiu won't say it incompletely at one time. On the contrary, he has to go through some hints to think of these key points. No hurry. Cloud Dance raised her hand and touched her chin and said thoughtfully, "Those city masters should have just arrived at the center. We should slow down and let them have a good look. There are too many people here. If I get the tomb, I will be the target of public criticism. It's better to let them fight for a while, and then I can get away." Sister Yin is considerate. "Can we go to another ear room now?" Huolinger said with bright eyes. Even if we know that the tomb will be in the clouds sooner or later, the playful nature is still more willing to open the room one by one, just like exploring. "Well, let's go." Cloud Dance says decisively, then continue to walk toward the depth. Small 9 helplessly stroked the next forehead, a pair of beautiful eyes full of helplessness. After thinking about it for a while, I decided not to mention some of the advantages of the tomb for the time being, so as not to disturb the interest of the previous 2 people in exploring. The center of the tomb. A white figure reached the center first. Why? Why is there no one? Long Qingxia looked around, and a surprise flashed across his face. No, according to the speed of small things, they should have been here long ago. Are they lost? This is the center of the tomb. Unlike other places, it is a huge square. In the middle of the square is an existence similar to the altar. A milky white group of light floats on the platform in the middle of the altar. The light flashes, connecting the group of light and the altar ground. If you look carefully in the past, you can find that there is a white jade card in the white light, as if through the jade card connected to what direction. If several city masters were here, I'm afraid there would have been a fight. Because that jade plate is the key to the inheritance, and it is also the biggest goal of several city masters in this trip. Jade plate contains powerful energy, which can directly promote a strong Wuzong to the realm of Emperor Wudi. They cannot inherit the inheritance, but there are no restrictions on the use of this jade brand. Several city masters have been stuck in the Wuzong realm for a long time, and they can't break through the bottleneck, so they all put their thoughts on the jade card. As long as they get the jade card, they are afraid that the forces of the surrounding towns will have to shuffle again. Tut tut, I'm not afraid to be taken by others even if I put it here so openly. Long Qingxia came to the edge of the altar and looked at the milky light, but he didn't mean to start. Is the tomb of the ancient summoner so simple? He didn't have such an idiot to do it directly. If it wasn't for the person selected by the tomb owner, he was afraid that anyone who went would be killed. Long Qingxia then looked around, and finally carefully checked all around, recorded all the organs in his heart, and found nothing special. It seems that I came too fast. Long Qingxia said thoughtfully. There are all kinds of treasures along the way. Maybe something happens to the little guy. In that case, I'll help you get more treasure. Having said that, Long Qingxia walked towards the direction when he came. Unexpectedly, as soon as he started, a small team stood in front of him. Young Xia, please wait a moment. The man in black came up with a folding fan in his hand and a warm smile on his face. Long Qingxia glanced at him, and the look in his eyes was well hidden. This team has been following him since before, and I don't know what to do. Young Xia, we are the exploration team of Yulin Town. I'm not talented. It's Mulin, the young master of Yulin Town. I had a chance to see the skill of young Xia. I admire him, and come here to get to know him. I hope I can form a team with you to explore in this tomb. Mulin said with a smile, as if he were really so friendly. Long Qingxia squinted at him. Yulin Town young master Mulin. He had heard something about it, but what he heard was what the people were talking about before they entered the tomb. By chance he heard the name of Mulin, so he wrote it down. Although I don't know what happened at that time, I know there must be something unpleasant between him and the little guy. As long as it's unpleasant for the little guy, he won't be friendly. Before he could find Mulin, he came to find himself. Long Qingxia's eyes narrowed, and he had an idea in his heart for a moment. Team up. I'm afraid it's going to spoil your kindness. Long Qingxia said lazily with a casual look. The things in this tomb have no attraction for me. I just come to find my friends, which is different from your purpose. After that, Long Qingxia is ready to go directly over Mulin. The clinker Mulin's eyes were brighter. Wait, if you want to find someone, you can do it. Our Yulin town is powerful and has a large population. If you can join us, I can ask my father to help you find someone. Long Qingxia's step stopped, as if he was interested in Mulin's proposal. After a long silence, Long Qingxia's face shows an evil smile. The smile on the character's face amazes the man. In that case, thank you. Just don't know, your goal should be that thing? Long Qingxia raised his finger to the milky white thing in the center of the altar. What? Now that I'm here, don't do it? Mu Lin is a lung. This just discovers oneself at this time unexpectedly already arrived the center of the grave. They followed Long Qingxia all the way. So even if they saw some ear chambers on the way, they didn't do it, which was much faster than others. In addition, with Long Qingxia, there were not so many obstacles, but unexpectedly, they were able to surpass all the people to come here directly. Mulin's eyes looked at the milky light, and there was a flash of greed in his eyes. Although it's important to deal with Cloud Dance, it's also very important to attract this man with extraordinary skill. But no matter what it is, it can't be compared with getting that jade medal. Thank you for reminding me, Mulin said, then winked at the people behind him. Although the heart is very eager for that thing, but also did not forget before leaving the city lord to his account. The jade plate is very important for the tomb. There must be many organs around it. If you see the jade first, you must be careful. This is the account given to him by the Lord Mu before he left. Now in front of Yu Pai, Mu Lin still hasn't forgotten, so he sent a man behind him to go forward. The man got the order, immediately nodded, and then went straight up. Long Qingxia's eyes glanced at Mu Lin carelessly, and he felt that this man was not so stupid. The man walked on the altar cautiously, for fear that he might touch the organ accidentally. But all the way, I didn't touch anything. I arrived at the milky light safely and looked at Mulin with a surprised face. Young master, there is no mechanism here. You can come directly. Do you want me to? Before the man finished, Mulin said. No. I'll take him. Come back. Yes, the man looked at the jade plate with nostalgia and tried to suppress the yearning in his heart. In fact, he wanted to get that thing, but he was afraid that he would be killed by the man beside him. obediently backed down. Mulan, eyes full of salivation, quickly walked to the milky light next to the group, looking at the jade inside. I can't believe that it's so easy to get you, Mulan murmured. When my father gets you, I don't believe that those who dare to fight against me can still live. The figure of Cloud Dance came to Mulan's mind, and a murderous spirit flashed in his eyes. That woman dares not to give her face in public. She must make her life worse than death. So thinking, as if with power in general, Mulan directly reached out to the jade card. The man in white beside Mulan suddenly felt something and exclaimed, "Be careful, young master." However, it was too late. Mulan's hand had already touched the light group. The next moment, just now, our soft milky white light group, instant light, dazzling light filled the center of the square. People have closed their eyes. Then, with the light group as the center, a majestic force directly flicked Mulan away. The power is so great that Mulan has no backhand power. Bang of a Mulan was directly hit a far wall above, dull sound, then heavily fell to the ground. Young master! Young master! Young master! A cry of exclamation rang out one after another, and then all the people rushed to Mulan. The young man in white arrived first, and helped him up from the ground. There was a surge of chi and blood in Mulan's chest. This fall was not light, but fortunately it didn't hurt. The energy was just strong, but it didn't kill him. The man who just went up to test was still scared. Fortunately, the young master didn't let him do it, otherwise it would be him now. This jade card is really not good, Mulan said with a frown. For a moment, everyone fell into silence. No one could think of a good way. In the Quicksand tribe, blood has been flowing into a river. In the whole Quicksand tribe, there are limbs and arms broken, bloody, and a mess. If someone comes in and sees this scene, they will spit it out disgustingly. Qi Yi shakes the blood on his sword and wipes the blood on his face. His eyes are all blood red. Looking at the outside world, it's all blood red. At this time, Qi Yi's was possessed and killed every person he saw. All the women and children of the tribe were crazy, which made Qi Yi's heart completely devoid of compassion. And those men like flies now have 2 seriously injured people left. Although full of injuries, his eyes are full of excitement. It's really difficult for Qi Yi's to fight with several men of the same strength. After one night, he shivers and can't hold the sword, gasping and waving the heavy sword. Tired night, the sun has been projected from the eastern sky. The whole tribe instantly dyed orange. She was tired in body and mind. She looked at the eastern sky in a trance. She was dizzy and nearly fell down. The deep and shallow wounds on her body made her blood run away quickly. Lucky and angry, he patted one of them in front of him. He was surprised, but he was exhausted and couldn't dodge all night. He was shot by Qi Yi's. He flew back and bumped into a tree, and suddenly lost his breath. At last, the man looked at Qi's ferocity and turned to flee to the tribe. Qi Knight cold face, no hesitation behind the man, together with the rapid toward the tribal center of the place. Until the sun has completely risen to the top of his head, the fiery sun makes Qi's Knight more trance. When he approaches the most bustling place of the tribe, he finds that there is still harmony in the tribe. As if he doesn't know that such a ferocious thing has happened outside the tribe. Qi's Knight color is bloody. He rushes in from the outside in a mess. The residents around him scream. Suddenly, the whole tribe center gathers here. Bad. It seems that they really don't know that the periphery has been slaughtered by themselves. He didn't dare to hesitate, and almost killed him with his sword. Suddenly, a burst of heartbreaking screams. The hot day suddenly began. All the people ran around frantically, shouting for help. Qi Yi's grabbed a man and wiped his neck with a long sword. In a moment, blood spattered. A woman nearby screamed and fell to the ground in horror. Qi Knight, holding a snake sword, came to the woman and said coldly, "Why didn't you be so afraid when you were eating human flesh?" The woman's frightened eyes full of tears, let Qi Knight have a moment of shaking, can't bear to turn around with a frown. But at this time, the woman suddenly laughed, almost jumped up and bit Qi Yi's arm hard. Qi Knight can't dodge, was bitten down by that woman, suddenly a sharp stabbing pain. Looking at the woman with a smile in her eyes, Qi Yi's eyes were cold. She stabbed the woman's heart with her sword. The woman had lost her life before she had time to hum, and her eyes lost their expression. Chi grinned and covered his arm. Suddenly, he felt that it was more painful than the stabbing of the sword. Turned to look at everything around, countless men and women, eyes panic as if to see a monster looking at her. It made her very sad, but the thought of that woman's crazy behavior just now. Chi closed her mouth tightly, tore a piece of cloth from her body, tied her hand and sword tightly together, and stabbed a man's neck. The man turned pale with fright and rolled to the side, but the snake sword still rubbed his neck. The blood suddenly sprayed on Chi-Yi's face, and then there was no sound. Chi-Knight has been exhausted, forced himself to raise his legs and run toward the patriarch's residence. Along the way to see people killed, gradually, those women's cry and men's roar let her no longer have any feeling. Further on, we have reached a downtown area. All the villagers are setting up stalls, with vendors among them. Children are running around among the vendors, laughing and laughing. For a moment, Chi-Yi was soft-hearted again. He sat down beside a wall, his whole body was aching. The battle of the night was too intense. When Chi-Yi sat down, he had no strength to stand up. "Big sister, why are you sitting here?" Suddenly, a figure blocked the sunshine in front of him, which made Chi-Yi open his eyes and look at the small figure in the backlight. "Are you hurt?" The little shadow squatted down, curled up into a, looked up at Chi-Knight's face. Childlike eyes are pure. Chi-Knight frowned, face complex, reach out to touch the child's face light way. "Are you happy?" The child actually nodded very seriously, and said word by word. "We live here, especially happy. We have meat to eat every day, and we have good friends to play with every day." "Yes." Chi-Knight bitter smile sigh, rubbed the child's headway, "Sorry." The child looked up in confusion, but he didn't respond. Suddenly, there was a noise behind him, and then countless people yelled, "Kill! A lot of people are dead outside." In an instant, Chi-Yi's eyes are full of indifference. He raises his hand and cuts at the child's back neck. The child is still confused, so he has closed his eyes and fell down. Reach out to pick up the child, gently put it under the wooden steps of the shop in front of him. Pick up his snake sword and run forward. The whole market was boiling. A bloody woman rushed towards the crowd. In the desert inn, Mengbai and Jiazhong go to the place in Jiazhong's intelligence. The sun was scorching, and the two men were sweating profusely. Looking at the desolate desert ahead, Mengbai could not help frowning. "Where are you talking about?" Jiazhong breathed, wiped his sweat, pointed to the place where there was nothing in front and said, "It's not far ahead." The two men were silent, and walked towards the desert for a long time. Suddenly, in front of the desolate desert, a huge tribe suddenly appeared, but the door was empty. There was a bloody smell in the faint air, which stopped Mengbai and Jiazhong. "What's going on here?" Mengbai frowned, and went forward again. The closer he went, the thicker the smell of blood became. Mengbai and Jiazhong looked at each other, and saw the inconceivable in each other's eyes. "Is it true that cannibal tribes have been slaughtered?" Jiazhong yelled, offering his sword and galloping toward the tribe. "Oh, wait for me!" Jiazhong yelled and rushed to catch up. Just walked to the door of the tribe. I felt the dead silence of the whole tribe. "You see what I said? That woman in the realm of Emperor Wu must be hard to deal with. These guys must suffer this time." Meng Baixin said that this woman is so cruel? Not long after entering the tribe, Mengbai saw countless broken limbs and arms scattered all over the place, and the blood flowed across the place. The tribe had a sense of killing. He felt even more nervous and ran forward. And the boy named Jiazhong covered his mouth and vomited out. Looking around with red eyes, he said, "Who is this? So cruel." Even women. Mengbai was silent and walked along the scarlet blood. Chi-Yi thrusts her sword on the ground and looks around. It's all blood and corpses. Except for putting the children aside, there's no one alive. She gasps, but she doesn't dare to sit down because she doesn't know when someone will come. However, the dead silence around him, the girl named Shi Qiaoman, has not appeared yet. Chi-Yi thought so, vomited breath, and sat down on the ground. At this time, her numb body suddenly gave out a strong pain, and countless wounds on her body made her pale. He sat down with his knees crossed in a hurry and entered the state of cultivation. He was ready to adjust his breath and heal his wounds. He looked inside his whole body. There was a sign that he wanted to break through. There was a faint worry in his heart. If he broke through in this state, he would have died before he suffered from thunder. Suddenly, I heard the sound of someone walking around. Chi Knight quickly opened his eyes, looked up to the front, quickly into the alert state. In front of her, a girl came slowly, wearing a pink skirt and a flowing belt. However, Chi Yi suddenly sank her face. This person is not Shi Qiaoman, and who is it? Difficult stand up. The sword in front of the body, the realm of stone Qiaoman, incredibly unfathomable. This let Chi Knight can't help but a little nervous. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. When Shi Qiaoman comes over, Chi Yi's can't help frowning because of the murderous gas all over his body. I didn't expect that I saved your life, and that's how you repay me. Chi Yi stood up nervously and stepped back 2 steps. This little girl is certainly not as simple as she seems. Shi Qiaoman stood in front of her, 1 or 2 parts away from her, no longer walking forward. You didn't save me because you wanted to kill me. Chi said coldly in the night, alert to the little girl in front of him. She didn't know why she was so careful with the little girl. In front of the stone Qiaoman, but don't speak, just a face of gloomy looking at her, but in both hands, but suddenly luck blue fighting spirit. Toward Chi Yi's chest padded in the past. Chi Yi's heart is tight. He packs his whole body with fighting spirit. He raises his hand and claps it. It's right on Shi Qiaoman's hand. At the moment of relative strength, Chi Yi feels his whole body's blood boiling. Then a mouthful of blood spurts out. He staggers back a few steps and almost falls down. This seemingly very young girl must not be so simple on the surface, because this person's realm is above herself. With that, Chi Yi has already rushed to Shikyomen with his sword. And his whole body is wrapped in fighting spirit, attacking Shikyomen. Mengbai and Jiazhong, at this time, have been aimlessly searching for the people of the tribe, and have never seen the woman who almost slaughtered the city in the realm of Emperor Wu, as Jiazhong said. Why don't we go into the city? Jiazhong said that they were just about to leave when they heard a fight coming from the other side of the city. They looked at each other and ran towards the city. Sure enough, as Chi Yi's expected, Shi Qiaoman is not really a girl. In the fight, Shi Qiaoman's face changes rapidly, and his face is wrinkled. In an instant he becomes an old lady, which makes Chi Yi's gnash her teeth. You can't beat me, kid. I've eaten more salt than you have. Stone Qiaoman's voice has been hoarse and ugly, not as clear as before, and at this time she is also covered with wounds, although it does not affect her strength, but also a little inconvenient. Chi Knight to Stone Qiaoman attack. Yu Guang but suddenly caught a glimpse of the side dozens of meters away. There are 2 people standing there, Lingling looking at this side. With a tight heart, one of them was still on top of himself. He couldn't find out at all. Chi Yi's didn't turn his head. He just yelled, "Who's that over there?" Mengbai was on the side, looking at the bloody man in front of him strangely, but the man suddenly called out. For a moment, Mengbai's eyes were full of light of hope. This voice is so familiar. Jiazhong cut a, looking at the direction of Chi Knight. It should be this woman who slaughtered the tribe. You see her blood, also don't know how much hurt. Although I thought I was familiar with the voice, I couldn't remember who it was, so I rushed forward with my sword. But just before Chi Knight is nervous, fly up a palm to split toward Jiazhong's direction. Jiazhong was startled and yelled, "I'm a good man. I don't eat people. We're here to help you kill the city." So Chi Knight suddenly froze, turned to look behind. Seeing that Mengbai's face had already appeared behind him, they were stunned and only heard Mengbai shout, "Be careful." Suddenly he raised his sword and looked at Shi Qiaoman. Shi Qiaoman was beaten and staggered backward for several steps. He sat down on the ground. Mengbai stood in front of Chi Yi's with his sword, but he couldn't help smiling at the corner of his mouth and said to Chi Yi's, "You heal quickly, I'll kill her." Chi Yi's, who has been fighting alone, suddenly sees his friend's face. He is moved, but he doesn't show anything on his face. He just nods and says, "Be careful." He quickly crosses his knees and enters the cultivation state. Hello. I said Ming Bai. Do you know this woman? Jia Zhong stood in the distance shouting. Qi Yi hears the sound, frowns, opens his eyes and looks to his side. Jia Zhong squats in front of him and looks at himself curiously. Well, yes. Ming Bai waves a sword and cuts at Shi Qiaoman. He sees that Shi Qiaoman has no power to fight back at all. He is beaten and retreats, and his mouth gushes blood. Tonight then. With that, Ming Bai raises his hand and throws a porcelain vase. Qi Yi quickly raises his hand and catches it. He doesn't ask at all. He pours it out and puts it in his mouth to practice meditation. Ming Bai starts to smile faintly, but suddenly frowns again, because he sees that not far behind Shi Qiaoman, a large group of people suddenly rush over, men and women, young and old, with weapons, very angry. There are still people. Ming Bai murmured and flew up with his sword. Qi Yi is now in a state of relief. He is in a hurry to adjust his luck. At this moment, there is a sudden thunder cloud rolling in the sky. The whole tribe is shrouded in darkness. The sky is full of lightning. Ming Bai's eyes suddenly brighten and he looks at Qi Yi's. Don't worry, I'm here to help you break through. Suddenly Shikyoman's side people beat back, fly to Qi Knight's side. And at this time, Shikyoman's suddenly evil smile, stop people, did not catch up, just quietly watching. Ming Bai saw that Shi Qiaoman didn't catch up and didn't pay attention to it. The thunder might fall down at any time. With Qi Yi's current physical condition, it must be difficult to completely break through. With this in mind, Ming Bai sat on Qi Yi's side with his knees crossed, and put his palm on her back to help her repair the damaged meridians and wounds in her body. Qi Knight suddenly a burst of relaxed, feel the strength of his body has been improved, hear the sound of thunder outside, suddenly came to the bottom. Shi Qiaoman sat on the ground and looked at them with a smile. She was waiting for the weakest time after the robbery. An instant thunder hit, let Qi Knight heart suddenly a shock, luck whole body fighting toward the thunder attack. See thunder hard hit, with huge energy, let Qi Knight complexion a white, spit out a mouthful of blood, continue to fight against thunder. Several thunders fell one after another, and the houses and land around the whole tribe cracked, which made people scared. Qi Knight is covered with blood, has been weak. Sitting not far away, waiting quietly, Shi Qiaoman has already stood up, offered his whip and walked slowly towards them. The last sky thunder strikes Qi Yi's fiercely. Qi Yi's heart sinks in an instant. He looks up at the sky, but Ming Bai suddenly ends up and runs toward Shi Qiaoman. And Shi Qiaoman suddenly waves the people forward and surrounds Ming Bai, but he flies to Qi Yi's in an instant. The last thunder, with a fierce momentum, instantly hit Qi Yi's and let her fly upside down. A mouthful of blood gushed out, and she fell to the ground. In a trance, she suddenly saw Shi Qiaoman's figure appear in front of her. She squatted down and stretched out her hand to pick up her hair. Ming Bai anxiously fights with a large group of people, watching Shi Qiaoman approach Qi Yi's, frowning. These people are really difficult. Qi Yi's, who was caught with her hair, was forced to raise her head and look at the old stone Qiaoman's face in front of her. After this evening's exercise, your meat must be very delicious. The ferocity in Shi Qiaoman's eyes makes Qi's anger rise suddenly. He raises his hand and pats Shi Qiaoman, but Shi Qiaoman grabs it easily and bites it. Sharp teeth instantly pierce into the skin. Let Qi Knight instant recovery of spirit. Bite teeth, turn over, kick to stone Qiaoman's head. Shi Qiaoman doesn't let go. Qi Yi's arm seems to be bitten off by Shi Qiaoman. She purses her mouth and draws out the snake sword. A ferocious look appears in her eyes, and she is ready to cut down her arm. Suddenly, Shi Qiaoman roared and flew back. Ming Bai suddenly came to him and helped Qi Yi's up. Qi Knight is breathing heavily, the whole body trembles, the whole person hangs on Ming Bai's body. The tomb of the ancient summoner. It's the square in the center. Long Qingxia leans lazily on one side of the wall and looks at everything in front of him. His face is so light that it seems that no matter what happens, he can't get his attention. Young Xia, do you know that this jade metal is not so easy to get? Mulan suddenly turned to look at the dragon and said. Long Qingxia's face had no change of expression, as if it was not him who was questioned. His calm eyes were not half guilty to the sight of Shang Mulan. The grave left by the ancient summoner should always be on guard from the moment he comes in. Mulin's chest bet, Long Qingxie means. I just tell you what I see, remind you that what you want is there, but there's no need to remind you that there's danger there. You didn't expect to blame me? Although the meaning of Long Qingxie is not polite, the truth is true. No matter who it is, there is no reason to blame him. Two people just look at each other like this. Mu Lin in the heart directly also hated him up. Sure enough, it's not good to be friends with that woman. Mulin thought in his heart. But in order to be able to let Cloud dance hurt, but still stiffly endure down. As long as their own mischief has played a role, it may be able to win the two at one stroke. With that in mind, Mulin showed an apologetic smile and said with a smile, Young Xia, you're right. I didn't think about it clearly. Long Qingxie didn't say no. He didn't have the interest to remind him not to die when he saw the treasure. Young Xia, you are so far-sighted and calm in front of the treasure. I really admire you. Mulin calmed the breath of his chest, went to the dragon and said with a smile. The smile on his face was very kind. I just don't know if you have any way to take it down, young Xia? On the face that dragon Qing Xia grows quite evil for, pretty eyebrow is tiny to stir up, issued a doubt. Oh. Seems to be surprised, why Mu Lin asked him. Mu Lin's face looked embarrassed. To tell you the truth, this jade card is very important to my father, so I have to get him. If you can help me, I can talk to my father. Long Qingxie gave a cold smile in his heart, but he looked embarrassed and said, The master of this tomb is powerful. Even I can't compare with him. Mulin said in his heart, Isn't that nonsense? They are the legendary summoners. Even though he has been dead for such a long time, it can be said that this tomb was built with all his strength, and this jade brand so far. I have no way to take it in Mulin's heart. A burst of loss, although here Long Qing Evil so quickly refused, but for what he said, there is no doubt about him. After all, it's the tomb of the ancient summoner. Where can I get it so easily? But they all got here before the others. Is it necessary to leave like this? I'm not reconciled to that. At this moment, suddenly from the opposite channel came the noise. The people of the team immediately kept alert, and formed a circle to protect Mulin. Ha ha ha. It seems that Yulin Town is going to take the lead this time. The bright voice rang out, far away, you can hear it very clearly. Mu Lin was stunned, and then a touch of ecstasy appeared on his face. When the figure just appeared in the square, Mulin quickly pushed away the person in front of him and went up, shouting to the figure, Father! As soon as the Lord of Mu City looked in the direction of Mu Lin, his eyes brightened, and then he looked in the middle of the square. He found that the milky light was still there, so he didn't have time to pay attention to Mu Lin, so he just said, I didn't expect you to come so fast. I'll talk to you when I get the jade card from my father. That said, the speed did not reduce, directly toward the jade plate. Mu Lin was so surprised that he called out, Father, no. But at this time, how can the Lord of Mu City listen to him? Behind him are the city masters of other towns. If he is not quick, he may be taken away by others at any time. Mulin was very anxious, but he thought that the strength just now didn't hurt people. And he thought that maybe he could get the jade medal with his father's ability? At the moment he no longer made a sound to stop him, but just stood in the same place and stared at the behavior of the Lord Mu. The speed of Lord Mu is very fast, even if he can't fly under the prohibition. He also raises the speed to the fastest. When he appeared next to the milky light, he did not hesitate to reach out and grab it. No. Later, several city masters who came to us immediately said with staring eyes, Hey, you're still a little late. It's mine. Mu City Lord complacent smile way. Behind several city lord also hurriedly toward this direction. Next moment, the dazzling light appeared again, just like just now, illuminating the whole square. What's the situation? Everyone was shocked, and they all stepped back for fear that there was something in the light. On the other side, Mu Lin and others, who had experienced it for a long time, didn't mean to be afraid at all. They just blocked the light with their hands a little, and then went to see if the Lord Mu was successful. There was a clear sound of heavy objects falling to the ground in the huge square. which made Mulin deeply aware that his father had also failed. Father, after the light disappeared, Mulin ran to the Lord and lifted him up from the ground. Father, it's very powerful. Although it's not murderous, no one can get close to it. The Lord of Mu City looks gloomy, but he is not hurt. But the moment before he is proud to show off that he is going to succeed, the next moment is so embarrassed to appear in front of the public. This kind of face beating is too fast. Let him unprepared. The first thing to stand up was to look at the other city masters. When they saw that their attention was on the milky light, the city master's face looked better. It's a tomb left by the ancient summoner. It's so powerful. Among the city masters, someone couldn't help sighing. Even the skills of the city master Mu can be directly shot away. You can imagine what we will be like when we go up. The voice fell into the ears of the Lord Mu, and his face became very ugly. Where is that flattering him? This clearly means that just now their embarrassed appearance has fallen into their eyes. After what happened just now, everyone who just arrived at the square calmed down, but when they looked at the milky light, their eyes were still fanatical. Dragon Qing evil mouth a hook. The next thing, he does not need to intervene. He doesn't even have to worry about these people taking away the jade card, because in his opinion, none of these people has the strength to take away the jade card. Even if they take away the jade card, they will take it back for the little guy. Now the most important thing is to find someone. Even if he delayed seeing her for a second, he felt impatient. Go back along the way you came, but you didn't go far. The voice just came from behind. Young Xia, please wait. Mulin with his team to catch up again. In a hurry to the side of Long Qingxia, some panting, as if for fear of missing Long Qingxia, this great Xia. Why didn't you wait for me, young Xia, and suddenly left? Don't forget, we agreed to form a team. Mulin's smile was genial. Although he was blaming, he said it like a joke. Long Qingxia's face was covered with a smile of Xiesi, and he said, Your father has passed, don't you help? With my father, I don't have to interfere in things there. My mission has always been to find other treasures in this tomb. Mulin said with a smile. So we still have a chance to work together. Long Qingxia's eyes flashed. You can't deny it. In that case, let's go together. Say it, then turn around and move on. Looking at Long Qingxia's back, Mulin followed him with a smile, as if he had taken a big advantage. However, he was constantly thinking about how to meet Yunwu the other side of the grave. Yunwu and other explorers searched all the ear chambers they saw along the way. According to the current strength of Cloud Dance, it can basically open all the ear chambers. Even if it can't be opened, there is little Josie to help. And Small 9 also from initially feel Cloud Dance small family spirit, to later unexpectedly also had interest in this kind of behavior. It's almost time. After searching another ear room, Yunwu estimated the time and said to the two people around him, Now some of them should have arrived at the center of the square, and we should go to see the excitement. Huoling'er turned her eyes and said, I don't know if the jade metal has fallen into other people's hands now. No matter who it falls into, just don't be taken by the people in Yulin Town. Cloud Dance looked at the side of the little girl with the mouth. Seems to have inexplicable hostility to the people in Yulin Town. Can't help laughing. Even if it falls into their hands, I can get it back. Cloud Dance said, although the tone is light, but the eyes are very bright. Small 9 silently stood aside, did not speak, but will Cloud Dance look all in the eyes? Can't help but also in the heart for Cloud Dance clap. His master should be like this, no matter when he is so confident. Unconsciously, Xiaojiu has been slowly investigating whether the Cloud Dance is qualified to be his own master. And in the process of investigation, he has been vaguely willing to accept the Cloud Dance. But what she doesn't know is that Yunwu didn't treat her as her own summoner from the beginning. Until now, Yunwu only treats her as her own partner. Cloud Dance. Two people in the Small 9 led toward the depths of the tomb. All the way, even if you see the ear room has not been opened, also did not stop to sweep. Bang! A loud noise suddenly came from the front. Is moving towards the depth of the Cloud Dance. Three people looked at each other, and then tacitly toward the other side. Damn it! I found this. Why do you rob it? A big man with stubble on his face was waiting for his eyes to say. And it was Mulin and his party standing opposite him. You found it. Mulin hissed and looked at him with a sneer. Although you found this ear room, you have no ability to open it. It was our team that finally opened it. What? Do we have to talk about things after we've done our work? Can we divide you half? Mulin has a high reputation in the surrounding towns. No matter it is because of the taboo of his identity or because of his superficial demeanor, no one will refute his words on the spot. However, the man in front of him is obviously the third kind of person. He will not let him down because of his elegant demeanor, nor will he be taboo because of his identity background. In this situation he will not give face directly. Fuck you. The mighty man spat on the ground and roared in a loud voice. Lao Tzu and his brothers have just found this treasure house and are preparing to start. If you don't have a hand in it, the treasure house of this song will belong to our brothers. Who told you we couldn't open? Tell you. Weaken Mulin's face sank directly when the big man was rude. He always talks in a roundabout way. When did he come across this kind of straightforward rude language? But also in front of so many people mercilessly pointed to the nose to scold him. Let him how can endure. Speak with evidence. I warn you, don't blame me if you speak ill again. What do you want? You want to kill me, don't you? You think you want to do what you want to do as the young master of Yulintown, don't you? I tell you, this treasure house belongs to Lousy. No one wants to rob me. Next time you find it, I'll open it for you. Mulin's face was very gloomy. At this moment, he didn't want to talk nonsense with the big man. He said coldly, I'm afraid I can't do what you want. Since I opened this place, it's mine. After that, he waved to the people behind him and gave the order. Go in. Take things away. Yes, the uniform response sounded. And then the people rushed directly to the inside. One by one, fierce, not letting. Who dares? It's not easy to be provoked by a group of big men. In one group, there was a person who stepped into the realm of Wuzong with half a foot. A group of desperado, do things without considering the consequences, only know that their brothers were bullied by the people in front of them, they will revenge back. A group of people directly to the door of the ear room station, stiffly will Mulin people blocked outside. Don't go too far. Mulin said in a cold voice, with an obvious threat in his tone. It's not fun to offend our Yulin town. At this time, there were not many people around him. Mulin didn't even intend to cover up. He directly exposed his own nature. At this time he had already killed each other, or even never died. But it's a pity that the big man still didn't eat this. He also looked at Mulin coldly and said, Master Mu, I don't want to think about who's going too far. The voice of a strong man is rough, and it can sink down at this time. Compared with the threat of Mulin's life experience, the strong man's tone was more bloodthirsty. It was a bloodthirsty man who had been trained at the critical moment of life and death for many years. He lived a life of licking blood at the edge of a knife all day. What else was he afraid of? Mulin finally understood that the people he met this time were not the ones he had seen before who could make them obedient only by threats. Now he decided to kill them. In that case, don't blame me for being rude. After that, with a wave of Mulin's hand, a group of people behind him rushed up and directly wrestled with the powerful man's team. It's him again. Huolinger stands beside Yunwu and looks at the scene not far ahead. The smoke frowns. I know how to bully others all day, and I think I'm so powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that he was the child of the head of Yulin Town, how could so many people listen to him? Cloud Dance turned his head and looked at Huolinger. You have a big opinion on him. I thought you didn't hate him from your previous attitude. Huolinger was stunned, then turned his head directly. How can he not hate it? It's just that as the daughter of the Lord of Flint, I have to keep the relationship between the two towns at all times. Cloud Dance clearly nodded. The line of sight inadvertently skimmed a white figure not far behind Mulin. The heart can't help but jump, but was stunned when seeing that face. It's so much like is not as like as two peas, but of the temperament and action of a man. If it wasn't for the difference in figure and appearance, Yunwu almost thought that she had seen Dragon's evil. The man who has been separated from her for months. How could that be? Cloud Dance murmurs to say, The voice is very small, but still by the fire spirit son of the side heard. What's the matter? Sister Yin Huolinger followed her line of sight and looked over there. As expected, he saw the man in white just looking over here. Huolinger asked curiously, Sister Yin, is that your friend? The cloud danced to pause for a while, the corner of the mouth curled up a touch of radiance, said, is a friend, have not determined yet. Huolinger looks at Yunwu with some doubts, but finds that she doesn't mean to continue to talk, so she doesn't continue to ask. Anyway, it's just a contradiction. It's not that annoying guy who bullies people again. Huolinger tooted his mouth and knew that Yunwu always hated this kind of trouble, so he said, Sister Yin, we'll go there and don't pay any attention to them. This time, cloud dance is unusual. I've seen it all. How can I ignore it? Huolinger was stunned, and then he saw Yunwu walking slowly towards the other side. Behind him, Huolinger and Xiaojiu look at each other. They are very surprised at Yunwu's behavior. Seeing Yunwu walk past, they have to follow. The battle ahead has already begun. At this time, the fighting spirit of all kinds of colors is flying. If people with less strength are here, they will be directly injured. But the cloud dance is like entering the no one's land, self-care toward the other side. Mulin's mind was all on the battle in front of him, and he didn't notice the approach of Yunwu at all. He saw that the people he sent couldn't beat each other's people. Mulin's face sank and said to the man in white standing beside him, go and get rid of them for me. This man is the master of Wuzong realm. He was hired by the Lord Mu. He was not his servant, so he was very upset when he heard Mulin's command in this tone. He didn't answer at the moment, and went forward in a dull voice. In the battle, the existence of an expert can often play a key role. After the person from the Wuzong realm joined, the battle was won by a powerful man. In a twinkling of an eye, the balance of victory tilted towards Mulin. However, Mulin, who was also an expert, had not yet made a move. A touch of disappointment flashed in the eyes of a big man, but more of it was bloodthirsty. Mulin looked at the situation in front of him with a cold smile. What? I just said that I would give you a chance. You don't want to fight me. Who is to blame for this? He glared at Mulin fiercely after fighting, as if he wanted to print his appearance in his mind, and said, I pooh. Scum. Do you have the face to say that? Mulin sneered. Besides, ugly words are just words, but you can say whatever you like. It won't be long before you have a chance to speak anymore. Although a strong man is fierce and reckless, he is not stupid. After hearing this, I know that Mulin has killed him. I'm afraid that from the beginning, his own ending has been doomed. If he did it again, he would also choose to offend Mulin, but it's a pity that these brothers who lived with him didn't die under the mechanism of the tomb, but died in the hands of Mulin. A touch of reluctance flashed in the eyes of a strong man. At this time, a figure suddenly broke into the war, compared with the figure of those burly men around. The figure who just broke in seems very small, as if a small butterfly flies into a chaotic place, which may destroy her at any time. But it is such a tiny-looking butterfly, but it can swim freely in it. Cloud dance. Mulin's face changed greatly and he screamed out. He would never forget how much pressure cloud dance exerted on him in the passage of the tomb. Although I thought later that I must feel wrong. How could a young man like that have that terrible strength? People around him also comforted him so much, so he was proud, really thought so, and even wanted to frame her, let her and her friends fall apart. But when cloud dance appeared again, Mulin couldn't help thinking of the pressure in the passage, which almost made him breathless. Yunwu glanced at him lightly. There was no extra emotion in his eyes. It seemed that he was just an irrelevant person. But such an ordinary look made him back. Behind him, there is another man who has the same color change as him. Long Qingxia is obsessed with looking at the figure that he has missed for a long time, and almost rushes to recognize her. From just now on, he has been looking at her, watching her step by step, also watching her rush into the battle. Little guy, how can you be so brave? For what a good boy. Long Qingxia said in a low voice, his eyes were full of flattering smile. Such a battle is a piece of cake for Yunwu. So he didn't worry about the danger of Yunwu dance at all. Instead, he began to mourn for the man in front. I don't know how many of his people will survive after this battle. I couldn't fight, but now there's another one. Does God have to fight against me? A touch of despair flashed in the eyes of a big man, but more of it was madness. Cloud danced to join the battle of the figure let him see in the eyes, the body light, skilled action, obvious extraordinary skill. But he didn't recognize such a character at all. Naturally, he thought it was someone sent by Mulan. Boss, it's not right. You see, she's helping us. A tall and thin man beside him heard the voice of a big man, and gave a voice to remind him. As soon as the words came out, the big man was stunned and looked over there. Sure enough, he saw that the target of Yunwu was the people who wore the uniform clothes of Yulin town. This what's going on? The big man looked at what happened in front of him. Cloud dancing figure is like a flying butterfly, constantly shuttling through the crowd, waving an ancient martial arts sword in her hand, which can always take away the lives of people. One by one, the figure is falling down. Then she takes out a person who belongs to the category of experts in the fish scale array, but in her hand, it is like a fish on the sticky board to be slaughtered. Boss. She's here to help us, the men around them yelled excitedly. The voice attracted the eyes of all the people around. The big men gradually became excited, while the people in Mulan were full of panic. White Shadow, what are you doing? Go and stop her, Mulan cried out in panic. The Wuzong master in the battle took a life here, turned his head and put his eyes on Yunwu. Looking at that fluent technique, White Shadow's eyes were stained with a layer of killing intention. Cloud dance. White Shadow low voice spit out these two words, clearly did not use much volume, but let all the people in the scene heard. The dragon on the other side narrowed his eyes dangerously, and looked at the man in white. He's a little upset, and he's very upset. The color of his clothes was bumped by other men. And the key is that he still wears white so ugly. The most unpleasant thing is that he is also wearing white clothes, and he dares to be so vicious to his little guy. Although it's a matter that 8 poles can't get together, it's the same result for Long Qingxia. He's very upset. Young Xia, I don't know if I can ask you to do it. Mulan suddenly turned his head and looked at the dragon behind him. From just now until now, Long Qingxia has never said anything. Mulan thinks that dragon's evil is the default of his and the big man's behavior of seizing the ear room. He also thinks that dragon's evil must be just so light and light on the surface. Who can't pretend? And Cloud Dance appeared for such a long time. But he had no reaction, which was enough to show that the friend he was looking for was not Cloud Dance. Maybe it's just a coincidence that there are 2 masters in several towns, or 2 masters who don't know each other. They are looking for their own friends here. If you are willing to do something, Yulin Town owes you a favor. Please let me know what you need in the future. Mulan looked at Long Qingxia and said seriously. At this moment, he knew that only Long Qingxia could help them. Long Qingxia eyebrows picked, looking at in front of a face seriously looking at their own Mulan. Silent for a long time, did not speak, finally said, "Good, I go." Said, then slowly stood up straight body, toward the fighting place. A little bit of move past. In the front, Bai Ying and Yunwu have been fighting together for a long time. Yunwu is merciless. Compared with the last fight in the channel, this one is more real. Although the hand of the ancient martial arts sword did not rely on the power of black flame, the strength of Emperor Wu alone was enough to crush White Shadow. You Emperor Wu. White Shadow can't believe looking at this quite young woman in front of her. Even can say that she is just a little girl. Such a person is the master of Emperor Wu's realm. How can he believe it? You know, he has always been called a genius. Cloud Dance mouth a hook, but did not answer, directly with their own strength to prove the inference of White Shadow. What? Is she Emperor Wu? How could it be? Bai Ying's voice didn't deliberately lower, so Mu Lin on the other side heard it clearly. This little girl is the realm of Emperor Wu. Is it true or not? Really? Look at her strength. The people here are talking about it one after another, and their eyes on Yunwu are different. Such a young Emperor Wu must have made great achievements in the future. Mulan naturally knows this. At this stage, no matter whether Yunwu is Emperor Wu or not, he has only one choice, that is to kill her. But can you do it by yourself, young Xia? Looking at the back of the dragon, Mulan could not help shouting, "Young Xia! Kill her! Yulin Town owes you a favor from now on." Long Qingxia turned his back to Mulin's face and showed a lazy smile. He replied lazily, "Good." With the answer of Long Qingxia, Mulan finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the strength of this young Xia is not weaker than that of Yunwu. On the other side, Huolinger frowned and asked Xiaojiu, "Do you think that man is so powerful? After knowing Sister Yun's strength, he is still so calm. Isn't he Emperor Wu?" Small 9 pair of coquettish eyes put on the body of Long Qingxia. That handsome and shameless man looks is so dangerous. Even she can't determine the strength of this man, so can only shake her head. "I don't know, but your sister Yun is not weak. And I always feel that the relationship between them is unusual." With such an answer, Huolinger was slightly relieved. No matter what his relationship is, it's not common as long as Sister Yin is not in danger. In front of the battle, the speed of Cloud Dance is getting faster and faster, and the whole battlefield has changed from the initial scuffle to the battlefield of Cloud Dance and White Shadow. The others, no matter they are the strong men or Mulin's subordinates, all give up the idea of coming forward. Looking at the purple fighting spirit, who has the courage to release his fighting spirit? There is a man who dares. Cloud Dance once again hands up, knife fall. Hand of Guwu, big knife directly toward White Shadow, cut. This once if cut, must be fatal. White Shadow's reaction speed is very fast, and the Cloud Dance attack has not yet arrived, directly toward the side of the distortion. With an extremely tricky angle, just hide this move attack in the past. But it's not over. Long Qingxia's figure appears between them, but it doesn't attack Yunwu. Instead, it kicks Baiying, kicks him out and bumps him into the back wall. Boom, a loud noise. White Shadow's body directly fell on the ground, all over the bones as if scattered in general, but for the first time raised his head, can't believe looking at the man in front of him. "What are you doing, young Xia?" Mulan exclaimed excitedly. "I want you to kill that woman. What are you doing?" Long Qingxia's eyebrows picked lightly. He turned to look at the excited Mulan over there, and said something that made him more collapsed. "You asked me to kill, but I didn't say who to kill. And even if you do I promise? Did I promise to kill someone for you? Besides, even if I promise, how about I go back now?" Mulan's face changed greatly. Just now he thought that the person he was looking for was not Yunwu. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but the fact told him that he was just deceiving himself. Think about it. If you stand with her, you will be against my whole Yulin town. At the critical moment, Mulan can only think of this move, staring at the dragon, and said, "Oh, is that right?" Long Qingxia stood beside Yunwu and said, "I know you are the young master of Yulin town, but what about that? Let alone a small Yulin town. Even if the whole country gives it to me, I don't want it." Mulan Qi's face turns blue. "I don't know what's going on today. It seems that everything is not going well since I met Yunwu. Forgetting the name of the young master of Yulin town, which has always worked, is becoming more and more ineffective and less taken seriously. Now some people call their names and say that they are not interested in Yulin town. Good. Mulan laughed angrily, looked at the man standing beside Yunwu and said, "I should have thought of it. You have discussed it. The purpose is for the things in this grave." Long Qingxia shrugged his shoulders and said, "So what? Do you want to eat all the things here?" Mulin's eyes stare, looking at the dragon's evil appearance, but he can't say a word. On the other side, the White Shadow, who was kicked to one side, had already stood up from the ground and looked at the two people in front of him viciously. His eyes were full of anger. It's really a group of people." Bai Ying said the same thing as Mulan, but both of them forgot who was the first to find whom at the beginning. If Mulan didn't use the dragon to deal with Cloud Dance at the beginning, this would not happen at this time. "Yes, they are. So what?" Long Qingxia coldly said, with the incomparably charming face, suddenly blocked each other speechless. "It's you." Long Qingxia's words just half said. White Shadow can't help a shiver from the bottom up. He has a premonition. The white man's next words are absolutely not good words. Sure enough, Long Qingxia immediately said, "You dare to speak to her like that, even dare to be murderous to her. Then I'm no wonder. As soon as the words were finished, the hand of Dragon Qingxia turned, and a black energy leaped directly in the palm. As soon as the power appeared, people around him suddenly opened their eyes, as if they saw something more terrible, which was more terrible than Cloud Dance. Yu Wuling Baiying looks at the handsome man in front of her in shock. However, it was the dragon's action that answered him. Between that group of small jump of black energy light floated up, directly toward the white shadow fly. It seems that it's so slow, but Beiying doesn't even have time to react. The black energy is fleeting, and it has disappeared into the body of white shadow. Wingo Island. Sure enough, the island is full of tenderness. The women here are beautiful, hot, graceful, and passionate. This makes Situlan a little embarrassed, just like the fantasy in front of him now. At this time, Songhuan Xiong's eyes were already soft and shining. Looking at Situlan, his eyes were full of deep feelings. However, Situlan sat awkwardly beside him. He seemed to be very formal, and had an impulse to escape immediately. From the magic incense sitting in Situlan opposite, looking at Situlan very embarrassed face, can't help but sigh. Also, maybe time is not enough. After all, we just met and we are not in a hurry. From the magic incense side laughed, but very reluctantly, turned away. Situlan watched from the back of the magic incense, until she disappeared at the door, just vomited a breath. It's really troublesome for secret women to turn around and see that they are resplendent. Even the bowls and chopsticks are made of pure gold, which makes Situlan sigh. As a matter of fact, they are not easy to be provoked. A woman can lead a tribe to such a brilliant level, which is really not what ordinary women can do. But I don't know when I can leave here and find my friends. Stand up and walk into the room. Don't think about it. I just want to arrange for him to live here. I was so sleepy that I didn't think about it anymore. I just fell asleep. It's dawn. Before he opened his eyes, he heard the voice of the magic fragrance in his ears. With a fragrance, Situlan quickly closed his eyes again. Why haven't you woken up? Are you so sleepy? A bowl of fragrant porridge was put on the small cabinet beside the bed. The fragrant wind left again with a sigh. Situlan finally vomited a tone, sat up in a hurry, looked out of the window, and walked away from the phantom fragrant figure. Don't know how to face from the magic incense eagerness. Situlan think also feel headache. Cross knee sit up, close your eyes, began to carry on breathing. The fighting spirit in his body didn't mean to break through, which disappointed Situlan. So he got up and cleaned up and went out of the room. I haven't seen this rich island carefully these days. Just in the morning, the island is busy with people coming and going. There are many pubs on the street. At the door of the pubs, there is a wooden board with all kinds of strange rewards on it. Situlan curiously walked over and talked with a group of people standing in front of the board. The price is too low. My God, high-level Warcraft is only 5,000 gold. How can people go? You say it's not enough for us to buy back the blood pill. That's right. This one won't work. Let's go to the next one. After carefully looking at the things on the board, he was attracted. There were many rewards and wanted tasks, each of which had a different price, which made Situlan really interested. He took a look at the recruitment in one of the taverns and went in. Innumerable warriors sat in the tavern chatting and boasting about their strength. Behind the counter, the shopkeeper was cleaning the table, lowering his head and not looking at the people coming in. Boss. Situlan came in and called. In front of the person did not look up, continued to wipe the table, completely while Situlan ignored. Hello boss, are you recruiting here? Situlan called again, and could not help knocking on the table. At this time, the boss finally raised his head, looked at Situlan coldly, and pointed to the upstairs. Situlan said thanks with a smile, and turned to walk upstairs. On the second floor, there were all elegant rooms one by one. At the door of the elegant room, there were tasks one by one and the number of recruits. This made Situlan feel very funny. He found a boy lying on the table sleeping and knocked on the table. Hey little brother, are you still recruiting here? The young man immediately raised his head, opened his eyes and looked at Situlan. He was surprised and said, Are you here to recruit young Xia? Situlan sat down and nodded, but he was thinking about how to earn some money to find friends. The young man in front of him jumped up and came out from behind the table. He took Situlan's hand and burst into tears. I've been sitting here for more than 10 days. No one has come at all. Young Xia, you are the first one. All of a sudden, Situlan had an ominous premonition, but before he asked more questions, the boy had turned and ran away, leaving a sentence, Young Xia, wait a moment. Situlan was very helpless, so he had to push open the door of the house and come out. He looked at the doorplate. Suddenly, he opened his mouth in amazement and escorted the escort team? What a recruitment! I can't laugh or cry in my heart. Why doesn't anyone go to this kind of recruitment? If some lazy people are willing to go to this kind of task which is easy to make money but not tired. Before long, the young man came over with an old man. Before the old man spoke, he had already knelt down excitedly. Situlan quickly helped the old man up and sat on the chair with a bitter smile. The old man doesn't have to be so polite. It's just a seeing off team. It's not easy for us to see off our parents. The old man looked at Situlan in amazement. Don't you see where we said to send it? See, send the Devil's Land Forest to Ningxia Island. Situlan blinked. What's wrong? The two men looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. The old man took out the map and put it in front of Situlan. You really don't know where the demon forest is? Aren't you from here? But with a bitter smile, Situlan had to nod. The old man took a look at the young man beside him and said to Situlan in a twinkling of an eye, if there is no problem, we can start. We can go to Xiafu and talk about the process in detail. After signing the agreement, we will pay half of the reward first, and then pay the other half after we come back in good condition. Then he arched his hand and said, I'm in the next day. Situlan also quickly arched his hand. Under Situlan. So that night, Situlan and Tianchao went to the mansion. The old man explained the whole process of the task in the evening and placed Situlan in a guest room. The next morning, Situlan followed these people on the road. There are many people in the company, but it seems that they are all under Tian's family. They said hello to each other and walked in one direction. Where are we going? Situlan had some doubts. To pick up the bride, of course. Tian rode beside Situlan with a happy smile. The bride lives in a village not far away. She is a lady from a rich family and marries the island leader there. Situlan squints his eyes and says nothing behind Tian. All the way there is a chat without a word. Less than half a column of incense time has arrived at the Mrs. Home. The door of the Mrs. Home has been decorated, flying red everywhere, extremely gorgeous. The whole village knows that the young lady is getting married. It's said that this young lady is a famous beauty in the whole village, but she has been waiting to be married. If it wasn't for her parents' tough decision to marry her to the island leader this time, she might have become an old girl and couldn't get married. So is there such a custom here? Situlan and his party stood outside the door, watching the two maids help a girl with a red cloth cover out of the room and go to the carriage. Vaguely, it seems that you can still hear the girls cry. People around seem to be very heavy, only parents wear the abnormal smile happy. As the girl was sent to the carriage, the people at the door drove the carriage, and they went to the direction of the demon forest. The big red carriage was very conspicuous on the island. It attracted the eyes of all the people around it. Situlan sat on the horse and looked around. Everyone cast a curious look. Suddenly in the crowd, Situlan in the crowd saw a familiar figure from the magic incense. At this time, from the magic incense is standing in the crowd, two people's line of sight, unexpectedly so unprepared to look at each other. He frowned in Huan Xiang's eyes. His eyes were full of tears. Suddenly he raised his hand and wiped his eyes. He turned and disappeared into the crowd. Situlan felt tight in his heart and sighed again. Maybe it's not good to escape like this, but now with a bitter smile, he turned his head and went on. Soon, the team moved from downtown to the remote wild. From the beginning to the end, the girl in the red sedan chair didn't show her head. By dusk, everyone had come to the foot of the mountain. Over this mountain, Through the Devil's Land forest, you will arrive at Ningxia Island. Tian ordered everyone to get off the horse and set up camp at the foot of the mountain. But it's too late. We can't go into the mountain and have been walking for a day, so stay here first and start tomorrow. So everyone started to camp quickly until it was completely dark. Everyone began to take out dry food. Some people even went to the neighborhood to hunt rabbits. They made a fire and talked and laughed. Although they were tired, they were very happy. Situlan turned to look at the red carriage. The girl in the carriage didn't say anything and didn't ask for anything. This made Situlan a little strange, so he picked up the rabbit just baked and went to the carriage. Girl, come down and have something to eat. You've been away for a long time, and you should be hungry, said Situlan, sticking to the side of the carriage. There was a sudden sound in the carriage, and then the curtain was lifted, a small gap, and a beautiful slender hand stretched out from inside. Situlan reached out and handed her the hair in his hand. After taking the hair, he drew back. There was no sound again. Situlan felt bored, so he was ready to return to everyone. Suddenly in the carriage behind him, a small but very nice voice came. That please wait a moment. After a pause, Situlan sighed, turned to walk over and stood on the side of the carriage. Please, miss. It seemed that the girl in it was very uncomfortable. After a long time, she didn't understand. After a long time, she finally said shyly, I think that can you go with me? Situlan felt a little embarrassed, but after looking at these people, they were all big men. None of them could be responsible for serving a woman. He was also very depressed. He was ready to promise to see a man come over, patted him on the shoulder and said, I'll go with her. You don't know where to go. Without much thought, Situlan nodded and walked towards the fire. Looking around, he saw the man holding the girl's hand and coming out of the sedan chair. They walked towards the woods nearby. In the end, there was only a dark forest. Why don't you come back? Tian murmurs and turns to look at the woods. He has fallen asleep around him. The campfire has gone out, and finally it has gone out in a gust of wind. I have a bad feeling in my heart. Situlan looked at the woods and asked Tian, Is this wood safe? How could it be safe? Tian said, As long as it is a place with luxuriant trees, Warcraft appears in groups. Besides Warcraft, there are many mountain bandits around here. That you're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.